American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Family owned and operated, so you know you'll feel right at home. Catch all your favorite games on 18 big screens while enjoying amazing food. And with 28 beers on tap, you're sure to find something you love. And don't miss everyday happy hour from 3 to 7 and again from 10 till close. Looking for more than just the game? Trivia Tuesday starts at 7 p.m. And there's Mario Kart and bingo nights for even more fun, too. There's always a blast happening at Fieldhouse. Whether you're looking for a place to watch the game, grab a bite with the family, or just unwind with friends, Fieldhouse is the place to be. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Bring it to the house.
The holidays can be a time of increased stress for those struggling with opioid or stimulant use disorder. Complex family dynamics, financial strain, and cultural expectations can weigh heavily and become a tipping point for those battling the physical and mental effects of addiction. But the holidays can also be a time for pause, reflection, opportunity, and new beginnings. They're a chance to take stock of what we have and are thankful for, to remember what's most important to us, and to consider what we can change. The holidays are a time of hope. So this holiday season, choose treatment and recovery. Embrace the support and company of family and friends, and create special moments. Get started by finding a proven opioid or stimulant addiction treatment provider near you at choosechangeca.org. Find a proven treatment option that's right for you. Recover you at choosechangeca.org. That's choosechangeca.org.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country. And your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. That's 800-598-0539.
Grant Napear is back every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6. This is Fox Sports, KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento. Hello, Sacramento. Sacktown. And welcome in.
Grant Napear.
How you been? You know this guy.
It's your show.
So happy to hear you on the airwaves.
2+ decades on the radio with you.
Just the start of an incredible journey.
Now he's back on Fox Sports 104.7 FM and 890 AM.
3 to 6 every day, Fox Sports Sacramento.
The phone number?
916-779-0929.
His name? Grant Napear.
Good afternoon, everybody. We wrap up the week. The story on the Kings, the NFL and college football weekend, all right here. Fox Sports Sacramento and your phone calls and text messages at 916-779-0929. The Kings are coming off a absolutely embarrassing homestand. Was it the worst ever? No. People said, it was the worst that I can remember because it was the most recent. If you remember, it was 10 years ago when the Kings lost 14 consecutive home games. 2 years ago, I think they lost, 13 in a row. So, there have been some really bad homestands, but this last one was absolutely brutal. And they start a 5-game road trip tonight in Minnesota. Then they go to San Antonio, Oklahoma City, the next night, Memphis. And they wrap up the road trip in Denver. They received some bad news today. Christian Braun's going to be out for about 6 weeks. And the Kings also get a little bit of a break a little bit of a break with the Denver Nuggets in Houston the night before they host Sacramento. So how bad are things for the Sacramento Kings? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst it's ever been, 10 being really, really bad, and 1 being not really bad. So after the show last night and earlier today, I decided to reach out to some people that have been a part of the Sacramento Kings organization in the past, that are no longer part of the Sacramento Kings organization, but are still within the league, both coaches, some former coaches, current players, and 2 former players, just to see if they have heard anything with their contacts. And to be honest with you, I was a little surprised with what I heard. I was surprised in the sense that my eyes tell me that things are bad, but my eyes haven't told me that they're as bad as what I heard in my contacts around the league. One thing about sports leagues, they're like fraternities, okay? There are really no secrets. What's going on in New York is well known in Sacramento, and what's going on in Sacramento is well known in Miami, and so on and so forth. Coaches talk, assistant coaches talk. They're in and out of different organizations. They have a lot of contacts. Players get traded. Players that play in one organization move on. They talk to their friends, and before you know it, they've talked to somebody that you're close with, and there you have a source. So, in these situations, I don't like to just go with one source. I like to get an idea from different perspectives, right? Members of the media, we know because they put everything out for us to read, for us to see, for us to listen to. Okay, so those sources are right there. The question is, who do you believe and who you don't believe? In other words, there are certain members of the media that have a tremendous track record, and I pay attention to those people. I don't pay attention to those that don't have a track record, that have been wrong before more times than they are right. So, members of the media, I take that with a grain of salt, depending on who they are. Coaches, I really put a lot of validity to that. When I talk to a coach, both current and former, that have a lot of contacts, that means a lot. When I talk to players, that means even more than coaches, because players will tend to be more honest with one another, and there really is no filter when you have player A from a team that used to play for you talking with player B that still does play for the team that you cover. Like, that's pretty revealing stuff. And I will just tell you that the Sacramento Kings right now are a disaster with a capital D. Okay, it's not just like a scale of 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. It's more like 9 out of 10 and 10 out of 10. I'm not saying it's 10 out of 10 because 10 out of 10, I've been there before. All right, I've lived 10 out of 10, and I've been at rock bottom, and I know what it's like. And I always talk about the story when I did a show on New Year's Eve, or the day before New Year's Eve, I should say, in Boston. And things were at the worst that I had ever remembered. Pete D'Alessandro was the GM. The Kings had just fired their coach, a very popular coach in Michael Malone. There was no communication going on from management. It was the worst. It was rock bottom for me. And so I remember being in the taxi driving to the radio station, and it's dark outside because my show starts at 7 o'clock back then on the East Coast. And I'm driving, it's about a half-hour drive, and I'm sitting in the taxi, and I really mean this. I'm literally sitting in the taxi going, I don't know what I'm going to say. Like, I really don't know what I'm going to say about this. And I walked in, and we got caught in traffic, and I'm like, gosh, I hope I get there for the start of this show. And I get to the building, and the engineer's waiting for me, and he escorts me up into the elevator to the floor of where the studio was, and it's all set up. And he goes, here you are. Here's your return. I go, yep, I got it. Thank you very much. He said, here's my number. I'm leaving in a little bit. If you need anything, you call me. I said, hey, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I sat down, and the music started playing for the intro of my show. Not kidding you. And I'm sitting there, and I'm listening to the introduction of my radio show, and I'm literally saying to myself, I don't know what I'm going to say. And I just start talking. And I talked for about 20 minutes. And I got the attention of a lot of people. As a matter of fact, I've shared the story of Pete D'Alessandro storming the court in Boston the next day to yell at me. I got a call from the president of the Kings when I arrived at the arena. I had a lot of feedback from fans. And then when I was standing on the court with Jerry, and Jerry would be able to tell you this, I had several of the players in the warm-up lines behind me pat me on the back and go, thanks, man. They all listened to it. They all heard what I said. And I had the players on the team thanking me. When the coaches walked out and I was live on the air and they walked out with Jerry, I had a couple of coaches smack me on the back, and as they walked by, mouth, thank you. Like, that meant the world to me because somebody had to say it, and I was like, I'll be happy to say it. Well, fast forward now to 2025. I don't work for the team anymore, but if I did work for the team anymore, I would still tell you that it's a mess, just like I told you it was a mess and that you deserve better that night in Boston, because that's what I did. I went on the air and I said, you deserve better. You need answers because you're too loyal of a fan base. You're too committed. You're too passionate. And so even though I worked for the team back then, I let the team have it. I said that nobody knows what's going on. I talked about the dysfunction in the organization, and I went on and on and on. And my message was, the fans deserve better. Well, you deserve better now. And I got to tell you, after talking with a couple of people that I really trust in other organizations currently that are well connected with players and some coaches on this staff and what's going on in Sacramento, it is a disaster. Okay? It's not just like, well, it's a rough stretch. No, it's not a rough stretch. It's a disaster. Okay? Let me repeat myself. It is a disaster. And if you're wondering whether Doug Christie's message after the game on Wednesday, which I had no problem with, okay, you wonder if that is going to resonate at all in that locker room right now. I am skeptical about that. I think that the starting lineup tonight is going to be very interesting when it's announced in about an hour or so, because I do expect changes. But my history with this is that things don't go from being a disaster to just okay in 48 hours. Okay? And could I see the Kings playing very well in the first quarter tonight? I could. Could I see them being more competitive tonight? Yes, I could. But here's what I know based on my past experience. You can have a meeting. You can have a players-only meeting. You can do whatever you need to do to get yourself ready to play. But the moment you go through your first bad stretch again, after trying to wipe the slate clean, you're right back to where you were. And you can't put a Band-Aid on this. Like, there's not a Band-Aid that is going to, like, stop the bleeding here. It is a disaster. And there are a lot of levels of this disaster. And it's alarming to me that 3 years ago, a team won 48 games, had the coach of the year, the executive of the year, third seed in the West, followed it up the following season with 46 wins, which, 46 wins is pretty good. Unfortunately, that year, it wasn't good enough, but it's pretty good, right? Would you take 46 wins right now? You'd be dancing in the street with pom-poms if I told you the Kings were going to win 46 games. You'd be happy as all heck, right? You'd be thrilled. Well, you're not going to have 46 wins this year. That's for darn sure. So, do I expect the Kings to win tonight? No. Do I care if they win tonight? No, I don't. What I care about is a team that looks like they want to be on the court. What I want to see tonight is some competitiveness. I'm not judging this team tonight on how they win or whether they win or whether they lose. I'm going to judge this team on how they perform. Like the Denver game the other night, I was okay with it. I wasn't like bent out of shape. I thought they competed. I thought they just lost to a much better team. Now, as I talk about this, I don't know if Malik Monk is playing tonight. I don't know if Domantas Sabonis are playing tonight because they're listed as questionable. If you ask me right now, Grant, you have to say whether I think they're going to play or not. I would say yes, just based on their character. But even if they don't play, like winning the game tonight is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking to see if they can compete. I'm looking to see whether they want to play, if they want to be professional, if they want to go out and earn their paycheck and play together, or are they just going to go through the motions? So tonight, when the game starts at 5 o'clock, that's what I'll be looking for. And we'll be breaking it down afterwards over on our YouTube channel. If you don't like that, Jerry Reynolds, Ryan and Sacktown, and yours truly. All right, 916-779-0929. Let's say hello to Javier. Javier in Vacaville, go ahead. You'll be our leadoff man.
How are you doing today, Mr. Napear?
Good, Javier.
So the report that I want to discuss is from the Locked On Kings podcast host, Matt George, that he's
Can I interrupt you for a minute? Is there any way to get you off speakerphone, or is that the way you have to do this?
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, so
are you there? All right. Just so you know, in the future, call back if you can. Speakerphones are not great for radio because there's an echo in the background and it's not ideal. And we appreciate the phone calls. And Javier, if you want to call back with just on the phone, that works much better than speakerphone. I could hear you, but it's not great sound quality for radio. So appreciate that. 916-779-0929. 707 says hearing trade rumors for Sabonis already. You're going to hear rumors all winter. So get used to it. You're going to hear trade rumors nonstop. You're going to hear rumors going on until now, until the trade deadline. So, like, you don't need to tell me every day that you're hearing a rumor for this and a rumor for that, because you're going to hear all kinds of rumors. And generally speaking, the rumors that you hear about don't ever happen. It's the ones that are completely unexpected. But I do know this, okay? The players, like I told you this. Remember what I said when the season began? What did I tell you? I said this season was going to be a disaster. I said they would be out of it by Thanksgiving, and that the veterans would all be wanting to get out of Taj. Well, guess what's happened? The team's 3-9. They're coming off the most embarrassing homestand in recent memory. The season is going to be over by Thanksgiving, and your veterans want out. They all want out. They want to get out of here. Okay? And I told you that before the season began. Now, I'm not right all the time. There are times I'm wrong. And when I'm wrong, I come on the radio and I say I'm wrong. I'm not wrong this time, and I wasn't wrong. Okay? It was very plain as day for me entering this season that this was going to be a disaster. It was very, very apparent to me on a number of levels. Okay? Going back to last year is when I had the feeling that this was going to be a disaster. All right? As soon as the Kings lost to the Dallas Mavericks in the play-in, and Shams Charania of ESPN broke the story of Monty McNair and Scott Perry and so on and so forth, I'm like, this is going to be a disaster. I said it back then. As soon as Scott Perry was hired and was not allowed to hire his own coach, I told you this was going to be a disaster. And that's where we're at. Here we are, right? On November 14th, 2025. The season is not even a month old yet, and we're dealing with a disaster. You really can't deny that. You can't say, well, Grant, they're going through a bad stretch, and they don't have Keegan Murray. And no, you can't say that, okay? Because there's a difference between losing a player and competing and not competing, or being in games and not being in games. And there's something about, like, the vets, and are they buying in and are they not buying in, and do they want to be here, and they don't want to be here. They don't want to be here. They want to be playing somewhere else. And when you have players on your team that don't want to be here and they want to be someone else, that's a bad situation, period. They want out. You think Zach LaVine wants to stay in Sacramento? Are you kidding me? You think DeMar DeRozan wants to stay in Sacramento? Are you freaking kidding me? And I know fans are going, that's great, get him out of town. But when you take a Domantas Sabonis, who is just an incredible professional, and I'm not saying anything negative about the prior two names, but, when you take Domantas Sabonis, who does everything in his power to be on the court and play, and is just a professional through thick and thin, okay? When you have Domantas Sabonis being miserable and wanting out, that tells you everything you need to know. It's awful. It's awful. It really is. I don't know what else to say. And I go back to the same message I had that night in Boston. You deserve better. Period. You deserve to be talked to. You deserve an explanation from management about what the plan is. We heard from Scott Perry before the season began with his 6 principles, which, you might as well take those and flush them down the toilet right now. Okay? Seriously. Unbelievable. All right, let's reconnect with Javier before we get to the break. What's up, Javier?
Hi, this is Mr. Napear. Sorry for the phone discrepancy. So
don't worry about it.
What I was trying to discuss earlier is that based on a report from the Locked On Kings podcast host Matt George, that Domantas Sabonis is, unhappy with his lack of touches offensively and him not being featured in the offense. And based on how we went and saw last season's, lack of undoing of the Kings with his, disgruntled way of Mike Brown and his interaction that, begrudgingly but unfortunately led to Mike Brown's demise, and how he didn't like being held accountable per se defensively, and now he's unhappy with Christie not being somebody who's valuing him and having been featured in the offense. At this point, the reward compared to the risk of him being the center point rather than the franchise star, and him being more of a burden than a benefit, is just something we need to highly consider. And if this is true, I would trade him tomorrow, if not today. And it's not about his talent. It's about he's not living up to the contract, and it's somewhat of I wouldn't say untradeable contract, but it's one of the worst, in my estimation, in the league with the amount of production contrary to his pay.
Javier, it takes 2 teams to make a trade. You just can't trade a player because you want to trade him. It has to make sense for your franchise, because these moves that will occur when certain players on the Kings are traded have to benefit your team for the future. You can't just make a deal because you want to get rid of the contract, and it has to make sense for your franchise that you think it's going to enhance your position and make you a better team.
And that's all fine and well. What I'm saying is, if I were to put a list of a player on a list to trade, wanting to trade or not wanting to trade, Domantas Sabonis was the guy for the last 5 seasons. We do not want to trade. Now, if this is true, what's being reported, how could you want to keep a player on the not trade list as a player that you're building around when he just had a falling out with the coach that brought us to the playoffs?
Well, first of all, he hasn't had. He had. Are you talking about a falling out with Mike Brown?
Him and Mike Brown were not on the same page in 24,
yeah, okay, but
seasons.
Mike Brown's not the coach anymore.
I know, but I'm saying, and now a year later, 11 months later, he's unhappy in the new system under Christie with his lack of touches in the offense.
Can you blame him?
Can I blame him? Yes, I can blame Domantas Sabonis.
I don't blame him. There's only one player that knows how to play with Domantas Sabonis on the entire team. Only one. There's only one player that knows how to utilize Sabonis correctly, and that player is Malik Monk. Okay, there's nobody else on the team that has been able to figure out how to play with a 3-time All-Star. Only one, Malik Monk. That's very disheartening to me.
If Sabonis doesn't have an unhappiness with Mike Brown, does Mike Brown get fired last season? No, that doesn't happen. They chose Sabonis over Mike Brown. Mike Brown's gone. De'Aaron requested trade, and now we're here.
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't think that's why they fired Mike Brown. I think you're on the wrong path here. Okay, there were a lot of reasons why they dismissed Mike Brown. That was just part of it. But, I mean, listen, if I have a player as talented as Sabonis who's a multi-time All-Star, and let's not lie about this. Let's not sugarcoat it. He should have been an All-Star the last 2 seasons. Okay, he was an absolute joke that he didn't make the All-Star team the last 2 years because he clearly was an All-Star. If I have a player on the team like that, I'm going to figure out a way to make him happy. And it's unfortunate that we're in this situation. It really is.
And that's perfectly fine. I'm not sitting there dispelling his lack of All-Star appreciation, but I'm saying from a player standpoint on the Kings, you can sit there and value his play contrary to what he's making. And how can we build around a player that is not taking the next step? He's regressing offensively, whether it's the system or not. Understandably so, Malik Monk can only play with him for what's currently on the roster. But again, you said this on Monday, and I reiterate, if we were to put the roles reversed, nobody's giving Doug Christie a head coaching job the way Mike Brown did in the summer. How can you sit there and accept that Mike Brown is gone, Doug Christie your head coach, and you vouch for him to be the head coach? This is Sabonis speaking, and now you're unhappy with him and the way he's being utilized.
Everyone on the team is unhappy right now. Everyone. Thank you, Javier. I appreciate your phone call. Good leadoff. All right. Hey, I want to talk to you about Spencer Grimmenstein, who I've known for 25 years, Village Financial. And with rates at or just below 6%, the market is starting to move again. A lot of people getting, busy right before the holidays, and a lot of properties are being sold and bought. Yeah, the market is been stimulated. And if you're looking for a home equity line of credit, if you're buying or selling a home, Spence is very good at what he does. All right, he's experienced. He's a financing specialist, and he has access to private money. Get in touch with Spence and his family-owned business. Text him, call him at 916-805-4868. That's 916-805-4868. That's Village Financial Group. And be sure and ask Spence about the investor special. And check out their website, bfgloans.com, and you'll find over 9,000 properties available for purchase. It makes sense to call Spence, 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. 916-779-0929. We'll take phone calls next here on the Grant Napear Show.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. Looking for the best happy hour in town? Head to Bennett's, where every day from 2 to 6, you'll find flavor, fun, and serious value. Enjoy over 10 wines by the glass, country club-style cocktails like lemon drops, skinny margaritas, and crave-worthy share plates. Short rib tacos, chicken wings, calamari, and more, starting at just $6. It's upscale without the uptight. 3 locations, Roseville, Rockland, and Sacramento. Join us today or check out the menu at bennettsrestaurants.com.
The holidays can be a time of increased stress for those struggling with opioid or stimulant addiction. They can also be a time for pause, reflection, opportunity, and new beginnings. This holiday season, choose treatment and recovery. Embrace the company of family and friends, and create special moments. Find a proven opioid or stimulant addiction treatment provider near you at choosechangeca.org.
For nearly all of us, our home is our biggest investment. And just as important as what it looks like on the outside is what is happening on the inside. How long has it been since you had your home's electrical integrity checked? Whether your home is 10 or more years old or even a newer build, the safe rule of thumb is to get the electrical inspected at least every 5 years. At Gabroods, electrical work is all we do. We're the area's recognized experts. Panel replacements, whole house fans, generators, solar, and more. But home inspections are what we do most often. Whether you have a difficult electrical situation or it's just time to ensure your home and family are safe, Call locally owned Gabroods for our thorough 12-point expert inspection. Gabroods, serving our Northern California neighbors for more than 30 years. Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S, Gabroods.com.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Kings start a 5-game road trip in Minnesota tonight, 5 o'clock. We'll be on after the game. YouTube, X, if you don't like that. 916-779-0929. Let's welcome in Roy to the show. Roy, go right ahead.
What's up, Grant? Glad to see you back on the radio, man. We got some sensibility back in SAC on the airwaves again.
Thank you, buddy.
You know, I'm just upset with the way this team has really approached this whole team since Domas even came here. Domas is not a center. People keep trying to put him at that 5, and that dude is not a rim protector. He doesn't present a presence like a true center should. He should be playing that 4. We should be putting Eubanks at the 4, put Domas at the 4. I mean, at the 4, and put Eubanks at the 5. And the other player that's playing out of position, thank God he's hurt, but is Murray, because Murray should be a 3, not a 4. He's too small. And my last thing is we should play DeRozan off the bench. I think we would see much better results with that lineup that way. But, you know, that's just my take, right?
Hey, Roy, have a great weekend. Appreciate the phone call. Thank you. I don't disagree with anything you said. I really don't. 916-779-0929. Rhino, what about what I said? I'm not as concerned about the win-loss tonight. Yeah, I would love to see him win, but I'm more concerned with how they play. That's what I'm looking for tonight.
No doubt about it. You're spot on. They need to be professionals. What they did against Atlanta was not professional. You still need to go out there. You are paid to bring your effort, put a good product on the floor, regardless of whether you're disappointed behind the scenes. And I think I get a little frustrated, Grant, with people that want to now get on Sabonis, and you said it, everybody's unhappy. Would his play tell you he's unhappy? Is he playing through injuries? Is he taking shots to the head? Is he doing what the coach is asking him to do? Yes, he's still being professional. So I draw that line there. His feelings don't bleed into his play.
No, he would not allow that. That's not who he is. That's not how he was raised. That's not what he believes. I don't worry about him when the game starts. I know I'm going to get the best that he has to offer.
That's right.
So I'm real curious to see what the starting lineup is going to be tonight. Will Schroeder be in the starting lineup? Will DeRozan be in the starting lineup? Because, Doug, you asked the question. You're the one that asked the question after the game on Wednesday. You asked the question to Doug about, do you have to make some changes? And he intimated, yes, you do. And he read off, the first thing he did when you asked him the question was read the plus minus for all of his starters.
Right. Exactly right. So I think the change is going to come from one of those two spots. The one that's probably better for the Kings is DeMar going to the bench, because you can always early sub Russ for Dennis. But the more likely to me, Grant, is Russ at the point guard. How about you?
I think DeMar will check out if he comes off the bench. I think it will be a mess, but I would do it anyway. So to me, I think now we're not only talking 10 games, we're talking 12 games. In my opinion, unless we're dealing with somebody that is playing with an injury, 12 games is a big enough sample size for me not as a coach, but as a fan to determine whether or not I need to make changes. I would take Dennis Schroeder out of the starting lineup for two reasons. Number one, he's been bad for the most part. And number two, in his last role, in his last stop in the NBA with Detroit, who is a very good team, a playoff team, he was their third guard. He came off the bench and played very well. So, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I think it is the most likely, most feasible. And here's the other thing. It's so unbalanced on the starters side. And so now if you start to shuffle things a little bit, and you end up seeing in the second quarter, mid-second quarter, and that's when the Kings play a little bit better. Now guys are going to get more of their normal touches, be closer to their spots, and you'll probably see a better product and happier players.
Okay, and I'm going to make a pretty bold statement, right? You like to have a bold moment. Here's my bold moment, okay? Agree or disagree after I go into this.
Yeah.
If I'm Doug Christie, I don't give a damn what Scott Perry wants. I don't care who Scott Perry drafted. I don't care who Scott Perry traded for. I'm the head coach of the Sacramento Kings. And Doug, hopefully, will look into the mirror and realize that Scott Perry didn't hire him and that the owner hired him. And he's got the backing from the most important person in the organization, and that is the owner. So I don't really care whether Scott Perry spent, $45 million on Dennis Schroeder or whatever, okay? I'm the coach, and I'm the one that's getting crucified by the fans and the media, and it is my job to try to stop the bleeding, and I'm going to do it the way I see fit, even if it makes the general manager look bad. Like, if I'm Doug, I don't have any allegiance to Scott Perry. He didn't hire me. I mean, that's the reality of the situation, fans, and I'm making an extreme out of this. Yes, you want to keep the GM happy. Yes, you want to work hand in hand, but here's the reality, all right? Doug Christie is in the driver's seat. He's the coach. That's what he's getting paid for, okay? He needs to coach the team the way he wants to coach the team, regardless of what the general manager did and regardless of what the general manager coaches. If the general manager wants to coach, then go to the owner and say that you want to coach. He's not the coach. He's the general manager. Doug needs to coach the team the way he wants to coach the team. And if he ends up getting fired tomorrow, so be it. He did it his way, and he'll be able to sleep at night when he's done. That's it. That's my bold take.
Freaking men, Grant. Amen. Scott Perry and Rock brought this up. I'm really glad he did in the chat. We want volunteers, not hostages. You got a bunch of hostages right now. And the only way to get out of that is for Doug to break through. And actually, I think that will gain more credibility with this fan base because they know Doug so well. They know what he's about, the passion. But yet you're starting out these guys that you probably wouldn't, if you were playing and you were the player coach, you wouldn't want that guy next to you. That doesn't balance out, right?
Yeah, you're right.
To what you said, the ingredients are in the fridge. Doug didn't buy them. It's his job to make them taste good together.
Yeah, and he got ingredients in the fridge that have mold on them. I mean, he inherited a bad roster. Can we just call it the way it is?
No,
he didn't exactly have the best groceries in the world to cook with. And at some point, Doug's got to take the groceries that he has and try to figure out what is the best meal I can make with this, even if it's not going to be a popular meal. It's going to still be better than what I've been serving. So I've got to go in that route. I've got to make my customers happy. He's got to coach the team now. He's done it maybe Vivek's way, or maybe he's done it Perry's way, or what, I don't know. Now he needs to coach it his way, and he's on record Wednesday night in a very animated post-game speech as saying such.
And that's why I asked him straight up.
That was a great question.
The contrast, you can't deny it at this point. But and I'm not intimating that he's lost any respect in that locker room. But if you want to gain some more respect, that's the way to do it, Grant. Even if you have to piss somebody off, because you have, and I talked about this weeks ago, you could maybe have this fracture down the middle of the locker room where you've got half of these guys that if you're Nate Clifford, they can't pick up 94 feet. They're too old. It doesn't work. They're going to get beat. You've got Keon Ellis that can guard fairly well. These guys that can do those things aren't getting the minutes. So now you start alienating. Okay, well, is this political, et cetera, et cetera?
Exactly.
Play the right players. Balance it out. That will get more respect from them than what he's getting now.
And again, if I'm Doug Christie, I don't care what Scott Perry wants. It doesn't matter. He didn't hire me anyway. So I don't care about that. I'm coaching the team the way I want to coach the team. We'll talk more about this upon our return at 916-779-0929. This is the Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic as we take our first look at the roadways for this Friday evening. Got a couple of problems out there. Disabled vehicle I-80 westbound at Yolo Causeway off to the shoulder. It is causing a slowdown through there. Accident US 50 westbound at Jefferson Boulevard blocking the center lane through there. And give yourself some extra time. Heavy rush hour delays on Cap City Freeway, I-5, and Top of the Town Freeway throughout the Sacramento area. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
The NBA season's rolling, and DraftKings' newest game, Pick 6, is the easiest way to play for your shot at big wins. NBA stars are lining it up now. Here's how it works. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats. The better your picks, the bigger your payout. New DraftKings customers get $50 in Pick 6 credits with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. Don't just watch basketball, pick, play, cash in. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KSAC. That's code KSAC. Play just $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Make the call, ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Ends December 2nd at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
The energy experts at Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort remind you that 2025 is the last year to get a 30% federal tax credit on a Tesla Powerwall 3 backup power system. If your home is solar, a Tesla Powerwall 3 charges and stores energy early in the day. Then later in the evening, when electricity rates are the highest, it kicks in and powers the house, so you avoid paying peak energy prices. And your Powerwall also functions as a backup power source if there's a power outage. And if you do it before the new year, you've got a 30% federal tax credit. If you're a SMUD customer, you get additional rebates. And if you're a Pioneer Energy customer, you can get your Powerwall system fully installed with no upfront costs at only $115 a month. Call or visit Sierra Pacific online and let us get you on the road to energy independence. Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
Looking for the perfect spot to watch the game and enjoy amazing food and drinks? Look no further than Fieldhouse American Sports Pub. Family owned and operated, Fieldhouse is passionate about creating a fun, welcoming atmosphere for everyone. Spice things up on Tuesdays with Taco Tuesday. Buy any order of our delicious tacos and get a refreshing margarita for just $6. On Wednesday, Fieldhouse features incredible drink specials. Enjoy $5 well drinks and ice cold pints all day long. Fieldhouse was voted the #1 sports bar in Sacramento. Tons of TVs, a mouth-watering menu, and daily specials. It's the perfect sports bar to catch all the action. Visit us today at 1833 Fulton Avenue. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, where the food is fantastic, the drinks are flowing, and the good times never stop. Fieldhouse, bring it to the house.
NBA insider Chris Haynes reporting moments ago that the Kings will start Russell Westbrook and move Dennis Schroeder to the second unit beginning tonight. So the big change that we were just speculating on earlier in this show looks like, according to Chris Haynes and what he's heard, that Russ will be in the backcourt with Zach LaVine, and Schroeder will be coming off the bench. And if I'm Dennis Schroeder, listen, He has no one to look at except for himself. He has not played well. The Kings gave him a big deal. All right, $45 million, $15 million this year. He's had a full training camp. He's had 12 games now as the starting point guard. He has played well in maybe 2-3 games at the most. And it's the equivalent of a quarterback of an NFL team playing poorly, and at some point, you have to go to the bullpen. And so Russell Westbrook will be in the backcourt with Zach LaVine tonight. So, Rhino, I'm not surprised.
Not surprised at all. And quite frankly, if you're Dennis Schroeder and you look past your ego, I'd be a little bit excited. He said he hasn't been comfortable. This is a perfect place to get comfortable. Coming off the bench, getting a little bit of extra minutes while the game's already going on, playing with different combinations. He's used to it, as you said, in Detroit.
And if Russ gets hurt, he's the starting point guard again. That's number one. Number two, though, okay, we look at the big picture here. And again, it is the perception, which I think is more reality than perception, of the Sacramento Kings, that the moves that they make tend to be the wrong moves more often than the right moves. I mean, that's Scott Perry's one big free agent acquisition, and already it looks like a bad signing. Like it's just, and again, things can change. I mean, he could play very well coming off the bench, and maybe a week or 2 weeks from now, we're not having this conversation. But I don't have a crystal ball. I can only go by what we're talking about now. And right now, it looks like a bad signing. And you know, Rhino, right? Most people are going, gee, if you were going to get Russell Westbrook and you loved him that much, why did you sign Schroeder? You should have just signed Westbrook, and you could have saved that money and gone somewhere else.
Yeah, certainly. And I'm on the record. I was not a fan of the Schroeder signing. I would feel different if it was a 1-year contract. And yeah, maybe you pay the premium to get the free agent you want for a single year. But Grant, 3 years at his age?
Yeah. 916-779-0929. So then the other question is, does DeMar DeRozan still start with the others that we're referring to, assuming that Sabonis is going to play? And I always assume he's going to play. Do you think that will be the only change to the starting lineup?
I do. I don't think Doug's going to take two out, especially with DeMar DeRozan. Now, you might see a quicker hook with DeMar, but especially Grant, because maybe you can speak to this. To me, this isn't a one-game change. This is the starting lineup going forward.
Well, we'll see. Here's a 650. Grant, longtime listener here. Thank you for that. It seems like your show has turned into a negative rant about the Kings on a daily basis. There's a lot more interesting topics in sports beyond them that would make your show more enjoyable to listen to. 650, give me some topics. Thank you very much for spending the time to text the show. Call the show, 916-779-0929. Tell me what you would like to listen to. That's number one. Number two, how could I not be negative? They are the laughingstock of the NBA right now. They're 3-9. They have a point differential of -11. Do you want me to come on and not be negative about a team that's an embarrassment, that has just come off an embarrassing homestand? Like, how would you like me to handle that? That's number two. And number three, we talk a lot of football here, okay? I have weekly guests talking about both college and the NFL. We talk a lot of NFL football. Is that a topic that you would be interested in hearing? If so, let me know. And third, if there are other topics that you would like me to discuss, let me know. Coming up in the third hour of the show, we'll have our weekly NFL picks for your chance to win a $100 gift cards, courtesy of Bennett's Restaurant. So we'll be doing that. We will go over the entire NFL and college schedule and give you our thoughts on some of the key matchups involving the 49ers and the Raiders. So we do that, but we also talk a lot of football. But I'm just curious, as a radio station in Sacramento, where the only professional team is the Sacramento Kings, and that's what a lot of people want to talk about. What do you suggest I do, 650? And as far as a negative rant about the Kings on a daily basis, I would love to do positive talk on the Kings. But you tell me, where's the positives on this team, right? I mean, come on now. Here's a different topic. Bob is calling. Well, in a moment. I went to him too soon, I think. Sorry about that. Bob, are you with me?
Hey, I am, Grant. Thank you very much. Hey, just had a couple things. Number one, I enjoyed hearing you talk about your favorite tennis players a day or two ago, and my favorite tennis player of all time is your fellow New Yorker John McEnroe, who actually reminds me a lot of you in terms of personality. He always very entertaining and always tells it like it is. So it's kind of funny that you were talking about him.
I actually played tennis with him in a doubles match against Andre Agassi at Arco Arena about 20 years ago, and it was one of the biggest thrills of my life to be playing doubles with John McEnroe in front of 15,000 people.
Oh God, I can't even imagine that. That
it was
sounds
unbelievable.
Incredible.
It was incredible. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I love the guy. I love to hear him commentate now. I like to hear him talk about anything. But anyway, just wanted to mention that. On the Kings, the question I have is with Doug as coach and some of your comments about his qualifications. Besides his lack of experience as a head coach, what other qualities do you think he's lacking that would prevent him from ultimately being a good head coach?
That's a fabulous question, and I don't know if I can answer that other than I think his personality and his demeanor is more suited for a college coach than an NBA coach. I think he's too old school in a lot of ways for today's NBA player. I could be wrong. I don't think he inherited a great roster to work with, but I have also been a little disappointed with his in-game adjustments and substitution patterns. That could be lack of experience, but those are just some of the things. What about you?
I don't know. I guess I've obviously I've watched him for years as a player, and then listened to him as an announcer and everything. And obviously he's got a good basketball mind. I just don't know. I don't know what really makes a good head coach. But I was just curious because I know that I don't disagree with your angle that he probably shouldn't have been named at this point as a head coach. But I'm just wondering 5 years down the road with more experience, if you think he could ever be a good head coach.
Appreciate that very much. It's a very good question. It is a very good question. It really is. I always go by the eyeball test, and my eyeball test just tells me that it's okay to lose. It's not okay not to compete. And it's not okay to talk about the same things game after game after game and what you're going to do, and yet your team continually goes out and doesn't do it. There seems to be a disconnect that's going on with the team right now. Do I think it's all Doug's fault? No, I don't, but he is the head coach, and he's the one that has to take responsibility. I don't like to hear about, gee, we need to communicate more on defense after the 11th game of the year when you had a full training camp and you've been telling everyone that's what you've been working on in practice. Just little things like that stick out to me.
Yeah, well, it's certainly not working, and I know it's a combination of factors. But okay. Well, hey, Grant, I appreciate your taking the call, and it's great to have you back on the air. And I also always listen to you on YouTube and love the
thank you.
The post game. But anyway, you take care.
Thank you very much. Somebody wants to know if I won the tennis match. You want to hear a funny story about that match? So it was at the time the sports director. This is again. You can't make this up. So Eric McClendon back then was the sports director at Channel 3. And they picked him to play with Andre Agassi, and they picked me to play with John McEnroe. Now, a little background here. McEnroe and I grew up 5 miles from one another, and we're the same age, but I never met him growing up, even though he lived in the next town over 5 minutes away. So we're really nervous before the match because, McEnroe is playing Agassi in an exhibition. Like, that's the feature. I mean, you don't think that 15,000 people are going to buy tickets to watch me and Eric McClendon play tennis. Okay, so we're playing, they're playing 2 sets, and we're playing in the middle of their 2 sets as an exhibition. So we're warming up in the tunnel, me and Eric. And I don't mean warming up by hitting balls. I mean stretching and everything else. And Eric and I are talking about how nervous we are. But this is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And he's telling me that he had an Achilles injury and an Achilles tear, and we were talking about, gee, how bad was that? He goes, oh, dude, it was the worst thing ever. It took me a year, and it's just the worst. So he said, I've got to do a lot of certain stretching before I play because, I don't want that to happen on my other foot. And I'm like, man, I'm sorry. I can't even imagine. So we go out, we warm up, and then the match starts. And in the second game of the set, Eric goes down, and I kid you not, he tore his Achilles. I'm sitting there, and I'm just literally, I can't believe that I was just talking to him about this 15 minutes earlier about his Achilles and how worried he was about his other foot, and he tore his Achilles. So I'm like, gee, what are they going to do now? And they got the ball boy who was a tennis phenom at the local club in Sacramento somewhere, and he ended up playing with Andre Agassi. And I'll never forget this. I had a really, really good forehand. Like, that was my strength. And so I'm playing in the deuce court, and I want to say maybe the third game of the first set, Agassi serves me what was probably a half-speed ball that had a high bounce to it, meaning that I could really take my time and line up. And I hit a screeching forehand across court, and Agassi got his racket on it, but just could only get it back into the court of play, and McEnroe buried it at the net. And Andre gave me a look, and for the rest of the game that he was serving, I didn't get the ball back over the net. Okay, he was like, really, wise ass? Really? You're going to show me up? Really? And then he started serving the ball as if he were in a real match, which I really liked because it gave me the experience and the feeling of like what it would be like in a real match against a real professional. So I actually liked it, but I'll never forget that. I remember that as if it were yesterday. All right, let's get to some more phone calls here with BJ. BJ, what's going on?
What's up, my man? I'm on break, and I got onto the app on YouTube, and I just heard the end of your conversation before I called Ryan. That you said something about an injury, right? An Achilles that you were discussing before?
Yes, with somebody I was playing tennis with in the mid-'90s. Has nothing to do with what's going on now.
Oh, okay, because it just reminded me of when you and Ryan were talking about if anybody were to get injured on the Kings, who would we miss the most? But
right.
I'm not blaming you guys. It was just kind of
yeah. This was from a story 20 years ago.
Got you. So you guys don't have the curse, and I give you guys. We'll leave you some levity on that. What do you think? It doesn't matter who we trade or what we get, because our hands are tied anyways with these big contracts. It seems like everybody's unhappy, of course, naturally. But doesn't it come down to? I mean, if your mindset creates the culture, and your culture creates the identity. If the mindset of the whole organization is I'm leading when someone else is supposed to be leading in certain parts, is just kind of in a disarray until that changes. Then it'll change on the floor. I mean, what's your take on that ultimately?
My take on it, in a perfect world, we all want our athletes to play up to their level of expectations and ability, but they're human beings and they have emotions. And when they know that things are a mess and they know that things aren't going to get better, subconsciously it can affect the way they play. And that's why I think if they were able to win a game, it would be a very short-lived thing of momentum, and I think they would revert and fall back, because the reality is that even if you were to win a game tonight, it doesn't all of a sudden make all your problems go away. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're a really good team and that you just went through a bad stretch. No, the reason why you went through a bad stretch is because of, like, you're not a really good team and the pieces still don't fit and it doesn't work. And yeah, in all fairness, the Kings have not only lost Keegan Murray, they've had games without Sabonis, they've had games without Levine, and they're not good enough to withstand these injuries. So that's part of it. But they know in the locker room, they know it's not like if they play well for 2 or 3 quarters, everything's fixed and blah, blah, blah. They still have the same problems, and the players know that.
Well, and I agree with everything that you said mostly. I think that, or I feel as a fan and as a fanatic, that the second string and the guys that are coming off the bench, clearly the people that are starting, it's just there's no flow and it's real chunky and it's choppy. when you get to younger, I don't want to just say younger, when there's more of a flow and there's more ball movement and more spacing, it gives everybody more of a team. There's more of a team effort, and there's more chance for deflections. There's more chance. It's just a better product to watch. I am curious to see when they're going to go to a youth movement and go with, why don't you start Keon Ellis? Why don't you play Neek more? Why don't you run
It's got to
plays
happen.
for?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen on this road
It's
trip.
got to happen.
Yep.
It's got to happen. I
Yep.
mean, if you're going to lose like this, go with the
Yep.
youth movement, and
Hey,
I think the fans will be happy.
BJ, we're up against it. Have a great weekend. We'll be back hour 2. We will talk some football, believe it or not, 650, just to make you happy and others that want to hear some talk other than basketball. That's next here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports Traffic taking another look at the roadways. Going to find officials on the scene of that disabled vehicle off to the shoulder, I-80 westbound at Capitol Avenue, Enterprise Boulevard. It is causing some slowdowns about Reed Avenue is where you're going to pump those brakes, ride those all the way to that scene. So give yourself that extra time through there. Heavy rush hour delays on I-5 northbound, southbound in between Top of the Town Freeway and US 50. Same thing with the Cap City Freeway in the same area. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
For nearly all of us, our home is our biggest investment. And just as important as what it looks like on the outside is what is happening on the inside. How long has it been since you had your home's electrical integrity checked? Whether your home is 10 or more years old or even a newer build, the safe rule of thumb is to get the electrical inspected at least every 5 years. At Gabroods, electrical work is all we do. We're the area's recognized experts. Panel replacements, whole house fans, generators, solar, and more. But home inspections are what we do most often. Whether you have a difficult electrical situation or it's just time to ensure your home and family are safe, call locally owned Gabroods for our thorough 12-point expert inspection. Gabroods, serving our Northern California neighbors for more than 30 years. Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S, Gabroods.com.
Cameron, I just think we need to, see other people.
Are you trading me in?
No, a trade-in is what I'm getting from Kitchen Mart.
A trade-in?
Right now, Kitchen Mart's offering a $750 credit when you trade in your old kitchen countertops for something worth showing off, like granite, marble, or solid surface.
I'm not worth showing off?
Not like the stunning new quartz countertops Kitchen Mart just installed for Karen and Tom.
Huh.
Durable, easy cleanup, made their kitchen look brand new. And Kitchen Mart gave them a $750 trade-in credit to haul off their ugly old tile and grout countertop.
You're dumping me.
That's harsh. You want me to wait till I get the new countertops from Kitchen Mart?
At least hold off to Wednesday. I'm seeing Susan.
Susan!
Now's the perfect time to trade up to beautiful new quartz, granite, marble, or solid surface countertops. Because for a limited time, Kitchen Mart's offering a $750 trade-in credit for your old countertops. Go to kitchenmart.com today and schedule a free in-home consultation and save $750 off new countertops.
No one does it better than KitchenMart.com.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. At Bennett's, it's all about bold flavors and fresh handcrafted food served with genuine hospitality. Craving prime hand-cut steaks? We've got them. Fresh salmon, halibut, or giant Mexican prawns? We've got those too. At Bennett's, we serve premium seafood and steaks in a relaxed setting. Whether you're joining us for a special night out or a casual bite, we'll treat you like family every time. Find us in Sacramento, Roseville, and Rockland. View our menus and make a reservation at bennettsrestaurants.com.
Grant's back. Join the conversation every weekday afternoon beginning at 3 p.m. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
So here's my question in hour number 2. Is Justin Fields a bust? Right? Like when you look at his career, the Patriots win last night 27-14. And now he's been with 3 different franchises. Drafted by Chicago when they moved up in the draft, and the Giants really benefited from that in terms of personnel. But you then have him move and ends up in Pittsburgh, and then he replaces Aaron Rodgers. And you look at his numbers last night, 15 of 26, 116 yards. And here's the biggest problem I have with Justin Fields. Almost every time we talk about Justin Fields playing well, it's because of his rushing yards, not his passing yards. And I don't want a quarterback where the first thing you talk about are his rushing yards. I've watched Justin Fields play enough now, and you could say that, gee, Grant, what does he have to work with the Jets? At some point, right, you have to play well, okay? You have to play well. And if I were just going to look at his stats this year and go with 7 touchdowns and 1 interception, I would say, well, that's a pretty good ratio. But I don't look at things like that, okay? I just don't. I look at the totality of a guy's career. I don't just look at touchdowns to interceptions. They don't really mean much to me. They really don't. I look at him and I'll ask the question this way. If I were a general manager of an NFL team and I needed a quarterback, would I want Justin Fields to be my guy that I would hang my hat on? And the answer to that question to me is an absolute no way, right? You wouldn't want Justin Fields. If you're a general manager and you got to hang your hat on a quarterback, are you taking Justin Fields? And then I look at Drake May and I look at the New England Patriots, who've been very bad, okay? They were bad last year. What did they win, 4 games? And you bring in Mike Vrabel, and I look at what May's done and his maturity and the fact that every time I watch him, he looks better and better and better. I love it. What is there not to like about May and the Patriots? Now, speaking about the quarterback position in the NFL, I've talked about this for years and years and years. And Ryan and I have a different opinion on this. And it's not even an opinion. It's the way we view certain things in sports. And I think a lot has to do with the generation that we're in. Phil Simms, one of my favorite players in the history of the NFL. Love Phil. Been blessed to have him on my show numerous times and had the utmost respect for him. Of course, Phil was part of the CBS NFL crew, both as an analyst and in the studio. And he does a podcast, and he does it with his son, Matt. And he made a very, very interesting comment about quarterbacks. And he said, quote, I can counter stuff I hear on TV, which I love doing, referring to his podcast. He says, yeah, and what people say on TV every day, I sit there and I watch a lot of TV because the games, when I watch them, the computer's not making any noise. So I'd listen to things. Let me write that down. That was the dumbest ass statement I've ever heard. Let's talk about his QBR. The last 6 games, his QBR. Phil says, who gives a S about your QBR? What the F is that? It's unbelievable. It really is. Then he talked about completion percentage and how analysts now use it as a cheap way of evaluating a quarterback. And Phil says that is ridiculous because the offenses of today have inflated yards and completion percentages, and he thinks the stat is nearly meaningless. Quote, all you have to do is one thing. Watch the game and determine how he played. Bingo. What have I been saying for years? Just watch the game. He went on and said this. Oh, that takes time to watch, so I'm just going to look at, he only completed 64%. God, you imagine these percents that they can complete now? He's close to 80%. That doesn't make you an accurate passer. It means you're throwing about 10 screens a game behind the line of scrimmage. I love that. I love it. I absolutely do. Back when Phil played, and really not that long ago, if you completed 65% of your passes, you were considered an elite quarterback. Now with run-pass options, screens, the quick game concepts, that number is really just a baseline. But as Phil said, analysts cite it like it's gospel. Like it's gospel. I love that Phil said that. He also writes a list of cliches when he's watching NFL games at his home in New Jersey, like running downhill, getting skilled players out in space, spatial awareness. Love it. I love that. He is so right. It's the same thing when I watch quarterbacks play. I watch a quarterback play, and I don't look at the numbers. I don't look at the stats. My eyes tell me whether he's playing well or not. I don't really care about the quarterback rating. I never have. I don't care about the completion percentage. I never have. Okay? I look at how a quarterback plays. I look at whether a quarterback is good or not just based on what my eyes tell me. I remember going to a game once and having a completely different perspective of sitting in the end zone in the upper deck for a game that Peyton Manning played with the Colts in New York against the Giants. And I consider Peyton Manning one of the top 5 quarterbacks to ever play the game. I love watching Peyton play. I think he was the most cerebral quarterback in the history of the game, incredible skills, and yet he still has a lot of detractors. But when I was sitting in the upper deck watching the game unfold, there's nothing like watching an NFL game from upstairs behind the end zone. I mean, it's like watching NFL films. I love it. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite place to watch an NFL game. And to watch Peyton Manning orchestrate the offense based on defensive alignments and watch it in real time where I could see the entire field in all 22, it was one of the best experiences that I've ever had watching professional football. I was just like, this is like the conductor of an award-winning orchestra. Like, it was just amazing looking him tell his players what defense is coming and who to block and where to go. And like, he was a conductor of an orchestra, and to watch it in real time from behind the end zone was unfreaking believable. And when I watch Justin Fields play, I don't say to myself, okay, you can win with him as quarterback. I just don't. I used to say the same thing about Donovan McNabb when I watched him play in January. I'm like, you're never going to win a Super Bowl with him. You're just never going to win with him as a Super Bowl. He's not going to win a Super Bowl for you. I mean, it's just so apparent to me, right? There are certain quarterbacks that get it done in crunch time and others that don't. It's like the detractors of Jalen Hurts. How can you be a detractor of Jalen Hurts? Like, all you have to do is look at his collegiate career in big games. All you have to do is look at how he played in January in the first trip to the Super Bowl where they lost a shootout to Kansas City, and see how great he played. He was the best player on the field, even though the Eagles lost at the wire to the Kansas City Chiefs. He was the best player. He was better than Mahomes that day. All you have to do is look at last year when they won the Super Bowl and how a guy plays in the biggest of moments. Give me that guy any day of the week. Don't give me Tony Romo, who looks great and has flashes here and flashes there, but in the biggest of games, he's never going to get the job done for you. I don't want that guy as my quarterback. And so I'm watching the game last night. And again, I understand the Jets just traded, a couple of their key players. And I understand. All right, I understand they're not very good. But at what point do we just keep saying that a team's not very good? They're not very good. He's on his third stop now. Like, do we have to now go to a different, maybe, explanation of why somebody's not very good? I mean, why would Jackson Dart have really good success moving an offense, the same offense that Russell Wilson, other than the one game against Dallas, and everybody has success against Dallas? Like, why would I think that there isn't something to that? How come Jackson Dart can step onto the field for Russell Wilson and the offense looks completely different? Like, my eyes tell me that he's the guy. Like, after watching him play, no, I wouldn't say he's perfect. No, I wouldn't right now say that he'll be getting a gold jacket and he'll be in the Hall of Fame, and I'm certain about that. That's not what I'm saying. But after watching him play, he has that it factor to him. Like, he understands the game. He sees the defense. He has tremendous pocket awareness. And when I look at pocket awareness in a quarterback, like, he has it. There are certain quarterbacks that just don't have it. He has the pocket awareness. He's very good at reading defenses. His biggest issue to me is staying on the field and not taking brutal hits, and he needs to go down more. That's my biggest issue with him. But I don't have any issue with him when I watch him read defenses, his comfort in the pocket, his ability to navigate and move the pocket. Like, same offense, same personnel, and yet he's doing it much better than Russell Wilson did. Coincidence? No. There's something to that. Eyeball test. 916-779-0929. What do you think about that? at the quarterback position. I've talked about this with Sean Salisbury a lot. Of course, starting quarterback at USC, played in the NFL for a number of years. Like, he teaches the position. And there's that it factor, right? Like, when you look at certain quarterbacks in the NFL, like Baker Mayfield, when he arrived in Tampa, correct? He just has the it factor. Now, do I think he's going to, be standing in February on the field holding the Lombardi trophy above his head? Not necessarily, but I don't think he'll play poorly in the playoffs. If Tampa Bay loses, I don't think it's going to be because Mayfield, was terrible. Like, I just don't see that in his makeup. My eyeball test tells me they've got the right quarterback in Tampa, and that when the game's on the line, believe in him because he's going to get the job done. That's what my eyes tell me. I don't even look at the stats with Mayfield. I think stats are so overused in sports. And Rhino, you and I go back and forth on this all the time because you're more into the analytics. Analytics have a purpose in sport. I'm not saying that they don't, but there's also the human element in sport, and there's the eyeball test. I personally think analytics have really hurt professional sports. I think probably more so in baseball than any other sport, but I understand there's a purpose for it. It's the owners like Vivek Ranadive that I have a problem with, where he thinks he can sit on his laptop on his private jet and run the team from his laptop. You can't run your team from your laptop. You just can't.
No. And I want to make it clear. I'm in the middle because the problem with the eyeball test is it doesn't give out MVPs. We just saw that with Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh, right? You pointed right to Cal Raleigh's batting percentage, which is a statistic. And I love Phil Simms. I think he's spot on. You're super right about watching the All-22 because you don't understand what is considered open in the NFL until you see that type of view. But I got to ask this about Peyton. I think he was the ultimate conductor. Thought he is one of the greatest of all time, but wasn't he a little too much of a micromanager, Grant?
I want my quarterback to be a micromanager.
But if you're his teammate and you know what to do you really need to be tapped on the butt? He tapped like every player on the butt before each play, telling them what to do, pointing it out.
I can't argue with success. I can't argue with multiple Super Bowls and MVPs. Like, I'm okay with that. And I always go by the players that play with Peyton and what they had to say about playing with him and being a teammate of his. Like, I always listen to things like that.
That's true. I can get with that. I just always thought that was interesting. I wonder whether or not the players really enjoyed that. But in terms of analytics, I think you could argue as well that they've hurt basketball or impacted basketball just as much as they've impacted baseball.
I don't think there's any question about that. I think that analytics in basketball have definitely changed the way the game is played. It's now a three-point shooting game, and analytics will tell you the game continues to go farther and farther away from the basket every year.
Yes, and it's also the reason you have rest management. I mean, we got into this a couple weeks ago about the tracking that's on these players, optimal speed. If they get past this speed in practice, you got to slow them down.
What's happened because of that?
It is increased. I mean, we can't make the direct correlations. There's other factors like multiple trainers, which one of the analysts for the Hawks was just on the show, and he was talking about the amount of trainers that were on the road. Steve Holman. This week, there's that argument, but yeah, you've had more injuries.
Correct. And so, like, more isn't always better. And I personally feel that NBA teams have gotten carried away with their, if I can use the term, medical personnel. There's just too many cooks in the kitchen. And then the players, when they're not with the team during season, working out on their own, there's just too much. There's just too much going on, right? There's just too many ideas out there about the best way to train an athlete, where it really needs to be uniform, because the hamstring injuries to me that we're seeing in the NBA are alarming to me. It just seems like there are more hamstring injuries.
Yeah.
Ankles, I don't worry about. You can't do anything about an ankle. You step on someone's foot, that has nothing to do with training. Hamstring injuries, that's training, is it not? And yet, Rhino, it just seems like there are more hamstring injuries than I can ever remember.
You're spot on. Me too. And what about the calf injuries? And you mentioned it earlier about your friend that you were in the tennis match with. He tore his Achilles, and we've seen calves lead to Achilles all too much. I wonder if it's something that's going to come up in the CBAs going forward, Grant. about trainers and team programs and whether the teams try to push that point, because it certainly is a little bit of an issue.
Hey, before we get to break, if you are in the market to buy a home, sell a home, you're looking for a home equity line of credit, get in touch with a man that's got a lot of experience, who's a financing specialist, has access to private money. That's Spence at Village Financial Group. I've known Spence, the broker owner of his family-owned business, since he began his business right around 2000. Again, home equity line of credit, get in touch with Spence. Buying a home, get in touch with Spence. Selling a home, he's the man for you. Text him or call him at 916-805-4868. That's 916-805-4868. The market's moving again. People taking advantage of where the interest rates are. Many properties available. Go to vfgloans.com and you'll actually find over 9,000 properties available for purchase. And be sure and ask Spence about the investor special. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. We'll go over Sunday's NFL schedule, zero in on the 49ers, Brock Purdy back. Your thoughts on that when we return on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic. Heavy rush hour delays exist throughout all of the Sacramento area. Give yourself lots of extra time, especially I-5 northbound, southbound between Top of the Town Freeway and US 50. US 50 in between 59th Street and I-5, even out to the I-80 interchange. And Cap City Freeway also very busy in between I-80 and 50 as well. So give yourself that about 35 extra minutes. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Traffic brought to you by Gabroods Electrical. Homeowners, for any electrical project you need done, trust the good dudes at Gabroods. Locally owned, 5-star service experts, and always transparent prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues with Gabroods. GUBRUDS.com.
At Downtown Ford Sacramento, we're proud of our long heritage. We've consistently provided Ford cars and trucks to families and businesses in this region for over 100 years. If we think about it, practically every kid who grew up in this town at one time or another rode around in a Ford that we sold to their family. We've served multiple generations of local farmers and ranchers who got their rugged Ford trucks from us. We've also provided many of the emergency vehicles that you see out doing the people's work every day on the streets. All of us at Downtown Ford, from our top-notch service department who keep your Ford running like new, to our dedicated finance team and the guys and gals in our showroom, we thank you for generations of love and loyalty to us. And for that love, we say right back at you. We're doing Fords just like we always have. Come see us any day of the week or visit us online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
My favorite. Number one in the world. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Could listen to it all day long, all night. Airplane, 18-hour flight. New York, Singapore. Just Earth, Wind, and Fire for 18 hours. I could do it easily. And I wouldn't even be able to listen to all their songs. Not even close in 18 hours. That would get me through the flight, Rhino. I could handle that. 18 hours.
I had to throw
I love
you.
it. All right. Hey, give me a call. 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. The Kings and the Timberwolves starting a 5-game trip. And then, of course, I talked about the NFL, and I talked about the 49ers now as they take on Arizona. And it looks like Brock Purdy is going to be the guy and that he is back. And when you think about where the 49ers are and the loss that they had to the Rams, they didn't just lose to the Rams. They got beat badly. And so now you have a divisional game against a team that's not very good in Arizona. They're just not. I mean, you want to talk about the eyeball test. Just look at Arizona. They're 3-6. This has got to be a must win. It just does. And the Cardinals are not good at home at 1-3. You need to absolutely win because one thing we do know, Seattle or the Rams, one of those teams is going to be 8-2 and the other is going to be 7-3. And you have the tiebreaker over Seattle and you play them one more time. You split the games with the Rams. I don't think that you're going to win the division, but you don't have to win the division in the NFL. Just get into the show. Just get in. That's all you need to do. Get into the playoffs. Wild card. If the Niners, I know they don't have Warner, I know they don't have Bosa, and I think that's going to prevent them from winning in the playoffs, but just get there. Make it interesting. Make it interesting. Get into the dance, and then you just never know. You just never know. All right, let's get to Folsom and Paul. Paul, welcome to the Grant Napear Show. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing, Grant?
I'm well, thank you.
A couple of things. First off, you guys were spot on. Basically said what I was going to say about Christie. He should run the show the way he wants to now. I think either way, if the Kings keep on playing the way they are, he might be out of here, so he may as well do it on his own terms. So one thing I do agree with you guys on that. And then the other thing I was going to say, we all knew at the end of last season that he needed a point guard. We all knew that Murray needed a point guard. I felt Doug Christie needed a point guard just as bad as both of them to get the team going. So Scott Perry didn't do him any favors, and then we traded Valanciunas. So it kind of put Doug Christie behind the eight ball. I don't put it all on Doug Christie. I put it on Perry, too.
Well,
And
I thought
then
Dennis
number
Schroeder would be a
two-
lot better than he's been. I got to be honest. I thought Dennis Schroeder would be a much better addition to this team than he's shown in the first 12 games.
Remember you said that, and that's cool. Our take was, he was traded to something like 10 different teams in like the last 2-3 years. But I respected your opinion on that, and it was a wait-and-see moment, and I don't think it's panning out, obviously.
Not today.
And then
Not so far.
Right. And then, Grant, a couple things about King's history, if you could refresh my memory. Not that I'm wishing that we go down this road with Doug Christie, but which coach had one of the worst seasons with the Kings in Sacramento? Was it Dick Motta, or am I wrong on that?
Yeah, it was Dick Motta. Kenny Nat was a disaster when he took over. I can't even remember who he took over for anymore. That was as bad as it had become. And the period of time where Tyrone Corbin was moved into the chair, replacing Michael Malone. And I love Tyrone Corbin. And as you could see, when Tyrone went to Utah to be their head coach, he did pretty well. You could have had Red Auerbach be reincarnated and coach that team. And no, I'm just serious. It wouldn't have mattered. I felt so bad for Ty. That was the worst situation that Ty's ever been in. Former King, great guy. And again, I was so happy when he had success with the Utah Jazz. I'll never forget this. We were in a hotel. We were in Orlando, and we had played the night before, but we were not leaving until later that day. And the Utah Jazz had checked in that night. They were getting played of the Magic the next night. And I was in the workout room, and Ty walked in, and we shared some real laughs about him being a player here, but then what a disaster it was during that period of time when he was the interim coach. And he was like, man, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I go, I know, that was bad. So but that was a real bad situation too.
But Grant, wouldn't you say that, if I remember correctly, the guys were at least trying to play for Ty, whereas with Mata, it was like they gave up on him for a while.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. Dick's offensive philosophy did not gel with the players on the Kings that wanted to run like Spud Webb. Dick's philosophy was use all of the clock. You don't run, half-court game. And he was real old-fashioned. To his credit, he won a championship with Washington back in, I think, 79. So, when he took the Kings job, it was his last job. He was looking for a paycheck, and he didn't really care what people thought, and he was going to do things his way.
Lastly, Grant, do I also remember right? Was there not a period in time with one of the owners, King's owners, where they actually reduced the prices of season tickets the following year?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. I thought they did. I thought that was the case, but maybe I'm wrong. Grant, thank you so much. You guys do a great job. Let's hope Doug can make us respectable again. That's all I'm asking for.
Yep. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. I mean, that could have happened. That could have happened. I just don't recall them lowering the prices of tickets. But I mean, maybe it did, but I don't know. All right, Kings and Timberwolves tonight. We got the NFL schedule. Your thoughts on Brock Purdy? Would you make that move? Do you think he is clearly the starting quarterback? I mean, I think when you look at contractually, yes, I think he is. I don't see why you wouldn't play him if he is good to go. So you've got the 49ers and Arizona and a game that you absolutely cannot lose. You know, you've got to bounce back from getting destroyed at home by a really, really good Rams team. So this to me, and we're going to have our picks coming up in the final hour of the show, but this has to be, okay, it has to be a win for the 49ers. And by the way, for those of you that keep asking me about Brandon Ayuk, it was, I think, Tuesday maybe Monday, but it was this week when Kyle Shanahan said that, you know, he was not going to practice this week. I think that if you're a 49ers fan and you're expecting Ayuk to, number one, play, but number two, really have a significant impact on the team, I think you shouldn't. I wouldn't go there. All right? Someone from the 916, the catchphrase back in the day was, quote, "It just doesn't matter," unquote, when Dick Motta was coach. Yeah. Those were the days. I told you the time that Dick made me referee the practice, right? What a disaster that was. And then we were walking off the airplane. That was the first year the Kings had their own plane, their Bach 111. And we're getting off the airplane after the last road game of the year, where the Kings went 1-40 that year. And we're walking off the plane, and it's late at night. It's like 1:30 in the morning. We're all quiet. We just want to get the hell out of there and go home. And Dick goes, "Man, it's a good thing we had our own plane this year. We may have gone 0-41. To this day, it's one of the best lines I've heard from a coach. What an awful run that was. You know, the Kings lost 43 straight road games. That will never happen again. You'll never have a team lose 43 consecutive road games. You know how bad you have to be? Do you understand how bad you have to be? Seriously. Do you understand how bad you have to be to lose 43 road games consecutively? Like, Rhino, when I say 43 road games, you only play 41 a season. Doesn't that seem impossible to you that you could go and lose every road game of a year and lose 43 consecutive games?
Not in this day and age. It's not happening. It's still, back then, that's hard to fathom. What'd they call it? Airball 1?
Airball 1. How about that? Airball 1. The Pistons, who were the world champs, had a plane. It was a DC-9, and it was a black plane with their logo on the tail, and it was called Roundball 1. And the Kings, when their plane and how bad they were, was nicknamed Airball 1. How about that?
It's good stuff. Who came up with that? Was that
I'm
Coach
not really
Motta?
sure. It wasn't me. I wish I could take credit for that, but not at all something that I had anything to do with.
Sounds like a Jerry Reynolds line.
Unbelievable. Seriously. All right. Again, if you want to get in on the program, you want to talk some football, we can do so. Don't forget, we'll have our picks. Did you say you were 3-1 last week?
Nope, 2-2.
2-2. All right. I was 1-3. So we'll try to get back on track. We looked at the game last night. Drake May, would he be in your MVP talk right now through, they're 9-2? Would you list him as an MVP candidate?
I think you have to. I don't know. And yes, he passes my eyeball test, but
Me too.
It's a lot of good stuff going on. I mean,
Oh,
would you
boy.
put him ahead of Jonathan Taylor right now?
No.
Can't.
No.
Danny
I
Dimes?
love what Taylor's doing. Hey, just this week, all right, we talk about the NFL. Washington at Miami. That game is over in Madrid. Where are they going to go next? Guess where they're going next year? They're playing a game in Australia, if you can believe that. So you have Washington at Miami. That is a 6:30 start Sunday morning. So my weekend just got tarnished. You have Carolina at Atlanta. Buffalo home to Tampa. I think that's going to be a dandy. Houston's at Tennessee. The Bears and the Vikings from Minnesota. Pick six is starting at quarterback for the Giants this week at home against Green Bay. That is the one and only Jameis Winston. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. The Chargers are in Jacksonville. The best game to me of the week is the Rams at home against Seattle. We've already talked about the Niners and the Cardinals. You have Baltimore at Cleveland. Another really important game in the AFC West. Kansas City has to win this game at Denver. Then you have Sunday Night Football, Detroit at Philly, and the Monday night matchup, Dallas at Las Vegas. Some good games this week. I think the game, the team you root for, might be the best game. I think Kansas City, Denver is going to be a really interesting game. And I think Tampa at Buffalo. Those are the three games, Rhino, that I have circled that are games that I would prioritize.
Yeah, for sure. Especially that Bills-Tampa one outside of Seattle. I think that's going to be an exciting one.
This from the 916. Didn't Airball 1 had to stop halfway coming back from the East Coast for fuel? Not only did it have to stop once, there were certain trips where we had to stop twice because of the headwinds if we were coming from the East Coast. There were times, and that plane needed a certain amount of visibility because it didn't have any of the fog equipment that now all airliners have. Like you can land with zero visibility. So what happened in the wintertime in Sacramento? Fog. And so we would stop and refuel, then stop like in Salt Lake and refuel. And you get a word from the pilots that you may not be able to land in Sacramento. And this is after you've been on the plane already for 7 hours because of the fog. And then as you came across the Sierra, and then the pilot comes on and says, hey, I'm really sorry to say this, but we are being diverted to Oakland. And you're like, oh, my gosh. And then, the pilots would then have to, because there was no communication, no Wi-Fi existed. That wasn't technologically available. It didn't even exist. So then the pilots from their cockpit communication with the tower would then have to give them the phone number of the bus company to have the bus meet us in Oakland. And very often the bus wasn't there when we landed because they had just been notified. And then you'd get on the bus in Oakland, and it would be, by that time, 4 in the morning, 7 a.m., where you just left from. And you'd get on the bus, and an hour and a half later, you'd be at the airport, stumble to your car, drive home. And as you're driving home, the sun's coming up, and you're like, man, this sucks, right? I mean, yeah, those were the days. Those were the days. Wow. Yeah, I don't miss those days at all. I really don't miss those days. That was brutal.
The fact that Kings fans know that, they're just cut from a different cloth.
It's incredible. I mean, it was not fun when you had the pilot come on and go, we are being diverted to Oakland. No, that was not fun. And then you get home as the sun's coming up, and you just got into bed, and 30 minutes later, then you got your kids jumping on you, daddy. That actually was fun. That was fun. But yeah, that was not. It took you a day or two for sure to recover from those type of trips. It really did. But all good. All right, we'll come back. We'll talk more about the Kings and the Timberwolves. We'll talk about more of the NFL games. We've got a lot going on here. The Kings are going to tip off here in just a little bit. Again, the latest from Minnesota, as we told you at the top of the hour, is that Malik Monk and Sabonis will play in the game tonight. And let's face it, right now it's all hands on deck. You need a lot. All right, so here's your starting lineups that have been announced. Westbrook and Levine in the backcourt, Sabonis, Achua, and DeRozan. Meanwhile, for the Timberwolves, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert up front, Anthony Edwards, Dante DiVincenzo in the backcourt. Your crew chief tonight is John Goebel. That's the 3-9 Kings against the 7-4 Timberwolves. The Kings have won 5 straight in Minneapolis. Can they make it 6 straight? A new starting lineup. We'll talk about that next, right here on the Grant Napear Show.
Business owners, Grant Napier's back, bringing Fox Sports Radio to the forefront of sports talk in Sacramento. That means more listeners, more potential customers who could be spending money for your products and services. This is Kurt Bagelman, General Manager for Fox Sports Radio in Sacramento. Grant's back, and his return is an opportunity for your business. Listen, the sports talk audience is a target-rich group of consumers. 80% are employed, nearly 60% earn 6-figure incomes, 67% own their homes. Take advantage of the attention Grant's return has generated to tell people where to spend their money. This is a unique opportunity to increase your sales right now. It costs nothing to learn how a good strategy and a great commercial message heard by sports fans could help your business. So call me, 916-779-0914. 779-0914. Radio and Grant get results, and we are here to help. Call 779-0914.
Hey, it's Grant Napear for DAS Mechanical, HVAC retrofit and service specialist. Family owned and operated since 2018, serving Sacramento and Placer counties. And yeah, the weather's going to turn soon, and it's going to start getting chilly. And when you need that heater to work, you don't want to be Mr. or Mrs. Uh-oh. You need to make sure that you're good to go. Well, right now at DAS Mechanical, they have a $69 winter maintenance check. That's right. Only $69 through the end of November. Take advantage of that by going to dasmechanical.org. That's D as in dog, A, S as in Sam, mechanical.org. You can schedule everything online and make sure you look at their 5-star reviews and their numerous best of the best awards. Homeowners, business for commercial maintenance, it's all there for you. DAS Mechanical. That's dasmechanical.org. Take advantage of that $69 special now.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
The holidays can be a time of increased stress for those struggling with opioid or stimulant use disorder. Complex family dynamics, financial strain, and cultural expectations can weigh heavily and become a tipping point for those battling the physical and mental effects of addiction. But the holidays can also be a time for pause, reflection, opportunity, and new beginnings. They're a chance to take stock of what we have and are thankful for, to remember what's most important to us, and to consider what we can change. The holidays are a time of hope. So this holiday season, choose treatment and recovery. Embrace the support and company of family and friends, and create special moments. Get started by finding a proven opioid or stimulant addiction treatment provider near you at choosechangeca.org. Find a proven treatment option that's right for you. Recover you at choosechangeca.org. That's choosechangeca.org.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. Start your weekend off right with Bennett's Bubbles and Brunch. Every Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 2, enjoy 2 entrees and a bottle of Prosecco for just $49. Indulge in favorites like our Dungeness crab omelet, country fried steak, or eggs Benedict. Whether you're celebrating, catching up with friends, or just treating yourself, brunch at Bennett's is always the right occasion. Come raise a glass, your table is waiting. Reserve now at bennettsrestaurants.com. That's bennettsrestaurants.com.
All right, so as Chris Haynes first reported that the Kings would have Dennis Schroeder coming off the bench, this was something that was needed to happen, Rhino, and we'll see if it gets the Kings off to a better start. That has been a real problem for Sacramento as the starters in the first quarter. It's been a real issue.
It has, and we're only talking about a change to the starting lineup. Do you think there's going to be any significant change to the rotation?
Well, I think you're going to see Keon Ellis and Malik Monk into the game early, don't you?
I do.
So I guess then the next question is, who's your first big that's coming off the bench? And to me, clearly, it's going to be Drew Eubanks.
Yes.
I like the way he's been playing.
Yeah, he's been playing high energy. I have been surprised by his ability to play above the rim. One of the few Kings big men that can do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm there with you.
So to me, the most interesting aspect of this starting lineup change is what does that mean for Nick Clifford? When does he come into the game? For whom? And how many minutes are we looking at?
I think Doug's going to unless Zach is really struggling on defense or he's still got an issue with the back, I think it's DeMar DeRozan. He comes in for. Zach will play probably most of that first quarter.
All right, again, for Minnesota, McDaniels, Randall, Gobert, Edwards, DiVincenzo. And again, they have lost, Minnesota has, 5 consecutive games at home to Sacramento. Let's see if that trend can continue. Again, I'm looking at just competition, competing. That's something that we need to see from the Sacramento Kings team. When they played Minnesota just a couple of nights ago, Minnesota scored 144 points.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that the Kings aren't going to come out and compete and have a level of energy that is acceptable to Doug in this fan base. The only question for me is the IQ defensively. Will they play smarter and not gamble? Because if Edwards gets by you, you're not catching up.
Who's going to guard Edwards?
I think you probably are starting Russ on Edwards would be my guess.
I think so too. And, Edwards is a guy that has to work his way into the game, it seems like, right? He's one of those, street guys.
It's a great point.
Rudy Gobert killed the Kings last week and has always played well against Sabonis. And they've got to figure out a way to change that recipe. They can't allow Rudy Gobert to dominate the game the way he did on Sunday night.
It's the zone defense. You need to see zone defense tonight. If you let Rudy get the ball down low deep enough, it's good night now. So I would see a heavy dose of that and really trying to push him out as much as you can. And that's going to come from Precious Achiuwa. I'm not so sure that you don't put Achiuwa on Gobert and you put Sabonis on Randall.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup, that's for sure. And you got to be careful of foul trouble as well. Hey, folks, with the NBA season tipping off, so does DraftKings' newest fantasy game, DraftKings Pick 6. It's the easiest way to play for big wins. And it's very simple. Here's how to play. Just pick more or less on 2 or more stats and unlock the upside every game brings. The better your picks, the bigger your payout. Pick 6 is available in your state. Plus, new DraftKings customers can get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. Don't just watch basketball, cash in. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now. Again, that's the DraftKings Pick 6 app. Use code KSAC. That's code KSAC. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call, ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. If you want to get in on the conversation, you can do so. 916-779-0929. Be sure and join us right after the Kings and the Timberwolves over on YouTube. Jerry Reynolds, Rhino, myself, we will be breaking it down on the post-game show.
And
all right, 5. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and Grant, I feel obligated to remind everybody, if you pay attention to this, it is an NBA Cup game. So Kings fans, bring your sunglasses. This court in Minnesota is very bright. The Kings are in Group A, 3 tied top Group A, the Timberwolves, Thunder, and Suns all defeated. The Kings and the Jazz bring out the bottom two. The Kings point differential -31 for the NBA Cup.
They're done. They're done. They screw the Cup. All right.
Yeah.
Do the Kings win a game on this 5-game road trip?
Yes, they do.
Okay. Do they win more than one game on this 5-game road trip?
I don't know about injuries. Do we get Keegan back? Probably not. I think if they're going to win one, they're going to get it tonight.
Really?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are
They've
you
won
basing
5
that
in-
on the fact that they've won 5 in a row there?
I think they play well there. If you don't have a kick in the butt tonight with a change in the starting lineup and probably Doug Christie with a quick hook, then how's it going to come? Right? I just think tonight's that night that they will.
The only other team that's as dysfunctional as the Kings right now is the team in Memphis, and they have them on this road trip. Now, it's the second of a back-to-back. Memphis is right after Oklahoma City, but they're a mess too. They're a mirror image of Sacramento right now.
The Kings have not been good on the second night of a back-to-back.
No.
though, which isn't
No.
surprising because their age.
They haven't been good on the first night of a back-to-back either.
Fair enough.
All right, so what do we talk about? 3 games in 4 nights with a travel day. This is 3 games in 4 nights. We haven't really talked about that, should we?
I thought they have a couple days off. This is
They had 1 day off. They had a back-to-back
you're
with
right.
Denver and Atlanta.
Yep.
They flew to Minnesota yesterday, and they're playing tonight.
No.
3 and 4.
No, I think because you're coming off that day off. You're not coming into
Well, every 3 and 4 has a day off.
right, but this is that day off that you got. It's not like you are playing the back end of a 3 and 4 on the second of a back-to-back.
Okay. We'll see. They're going to need it. Zach LaVine's going to have a really big game. Sabonis has to stay out of foul trouble tonight. He has to. He just has to stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah. And you know what? I think Max has shown enough to where I'm comfortable having him on the court tonight, especially if the Kings are running his own in case you do get into foul trouble. But yes, that is not an ideal situation.
All right. So Minnesota, again, they're not exactly, barn burners here. They're 7 and 4. They have shown some vulnerabilities this year, but they have some matchup issues that could be a real problem for Sacramento. So, I did get a peek at the court, and it is really difficult on the ice. So good luck with the court tonight in watching the game from Minneapolis. Here's your scoreboard tonight in the NBA. The Knicks are at home against Miami. They lead 43-38 with 2.5 gone by in the second quarter. In the second, the Nets, how about this score? The Nets are leading the Magic in Orlando 44-30. The Nets are the worst team in the NBA, and they're up 14 on the Magic.
Banchero's hurt.
Yeah, I know, but still. Come on. 9:40 left, and you have the Pistons out to an early lead on the Sixers. Portland's in Houston. The Hornets are in Milwaukee. The Pelicans are at home to the Lakers. The Clippers and the Mavericks. How bad are those teams? Clippers 3-8, the Mavericks 3-9, and then the Warriors are going to try to beat the Spurs for the second game in a row. Spurs are 8-3, and the Warriors are 7-6. I do know Banchero's out, but even with Banchero out, I would expect the Magic to beat the Nets.
I think they'll probably come back.
Yep. What do you think about those two teams, the Clippers and the Mavericks? I mean, you've got the Mavericks who they just got too many key guys out of the lineup, and they're depending on an 18-year-old to run the show in Cooper Flagg. And then the Clippers just are so old.
The Clippers are old. They're cooked. They're distracted. The Mavericks are playing out of position. The Mavericks, once they get Kyrie Irving back and you get Coop a little bit more run, get him more used to the league, I think they're going to be fine.
How embarrassing is it right now for the league? And again, I understand it's November, that the 10th place team in the West, which would qualify for playing, is 4-8.
I don't think it's embarrassing. We knew that with the Western Conference.
But we didn't think that we didn't think 6 teams almost a month into the season would have fewer than 4 or fewer wins. We didn't think that.
I'm not super surprised. I mean, maybe it's a little bit more than we expected, but I'm not shocked. Jerry, when he made his pick last year with the Kings win total, he was talking about how brutal the West was. And remember, he thought 40 games would get you into the play-in?
Yep.
I think it's gotten worse this year. Now, you can say, well, how many of those teams at the top or even at the bottom have played teams in the West early in the schedule? If you're losing towards teams in the East, then yeah, that's really bad. So the Kings have lost to a decent amount of those names.
Well, the Kings have, they're only 2-7. They've already had 9 of their 13 games against the West. All right. The Clippers have had 9 games of their 11 against the West. Right. Dallas has only had 6 games against the West. New Orleans has had 9 games against the West, and the Jazz have had 7. But the Kings, have played 12 games. 9 of the 12 have been against the Western Conference.
Usually by the 12-game point, we're like, man, I can't believe 12 games went that fast. Doug said it at the press conference. This is only game 12. It feels like we've already played half a season.
Yeah, well, when you lose every night and get blown off the court every night, the games, it seems like you're in the middle of the season. I'm really curious to see this first quarter tonight, Ryan. I don't want to go overboard here, but I made this comment yesterday that I think the first quarter tonight may be the most important quarter of basketball the Kings have played to this date.
I can't argue against it. Really, for Doug Christie, too. This is one of those nights where does this team, and we can't put it all on Doug. The players were not professional. At least some of them.
True. Very
last
true.
Game. Whether you like your coach or not, there is a standard of effort that you are paid to bring 82 games a year. But, with the move that Doug makes, I got to think you get a little bit better energy.
Minnesota's point differential is plus 5.5. They allow 115.7 points a game. And offensively, they put 121.2 on the board. The Kings this year are allowing an embarrassing 124.5 points a game and only score 113.4. That's why their differential is minus 11-1. So Minnesota, not good at home. And that's the other thing we have to point out. They're only 500 at home.
Great point.
They've only had 4 home games, and they're 2-2. And the Kings have had success there. So let's see.
I'll say this. Minnesota is not, to me, the highest IQ team.
Agreed.
I think
But they're very, very well coached.
They're very well coached, but you can bait them into what you want them to do, or at least you have the last couple years. The fringe players here that you can't let get going are DiVincenzo, for instance. He's dunking on the Kings, posterizing them. You've got to try to stop those straight line drives, because then they kick out to their spot shooters who usually are deadly. I mean, you stopped Edwards, Grant, for a quarter and a half, and then the Kings arguably got him going, right?
The guy that I am always worried about, and the guy that I am more of all the players we just named, is Naz Reid. Naz Reid, to me, is a player that we talk about on almost every postgame show involving these two teams.
Great point, Grant. Spot on.
He's the guy. All right, so that game's going to start in about 15 minutes, and we will break it down. We have Grant's rant coming up. We've got our picks and your chance to win a gift card from Bennett's Restaurants, a $100 gift card if you are the winner for our weekly picks against the number. And you have to use the DraftKings NFL sports odds, because we all have to be playing with the same numbers. So you have to use DraftKings and their NFL odds when you make your picks. All right? So we've got a fun third hour. We'll be following a Kings game. I've got Grant's rant on the other side of this break and our picks. Your phone calls, 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. The Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Sports traffic. Heavy rush hour delays exist throughout all of the Sacramento area. Give yourself lots of extra time, especially I-5 northbound, southbound between Top of the Town Freeway and US 50. US 50 in between 59th Street and I-5, even out to the I-80 interchange, and Cap City Freeway, also very busy in between I-80 and 50 as well. So give yourself that about 30, 35 extra minutes. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
For more than 4 decades, Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort has been trusted by home and business owners for their professional expertise in heating, air conditioning, and solar energy. Your home is your castle, and at Sierra Pacific, we thank you for 40 great years of trusting us to protect your castle. Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort, solar, heating, and air. SierraPacificHome.com.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The NFL saw smoke and decided not to wait for the fire. In a memo sent to team officials yesterday, the league announced it's been working with lawmakers, regulators, and its sports betting partners to limit and, when possible, outright prohibit prop bets across the sport. Prop bets are the easiest thing in gambling to manipulate. One snap count here, one target there, one questionable injury update at the right moment. That's all it takes. And with the other leagues now dealing with the fallout of gambling scandals, the NFL understands the stakes are high. But once gambling threatens the integrity of the game, you've crossed the line. And that's when the shield stops shining so bright. So the NFL is drawing that line now, tightening guardrails before anyone has a chance to misuse inside information or shave the margins of a bet. It's smart, it's proactive, and it shows the league understands the business only works if the football can be trusted. Good move, NFL. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. It's being called the Golden Bonanza Sweepstakes. Thanks to our friends at Mako, the DP Show, proud to be a part of this, giving listeners a chance to join us in San Francisco for Super Week. That's right, a trip for 2, including round-trip coach airfare, 3 nights, hotel stay, ground transportation, and VIP access to see us do our show. If that's not enough, Mako also giving away 5 free paint jobs and 10 Mako and DP Show swag bags as runner-up prizes. It's really simple to enter. You go to danpatrick.com. The best news, you can enter daily for a chance to win. You can also receive a 25% off coupon to use at any Mako shop. Visit any Mako location now for a free estimate and redeem the coupon. Terms and conditions apply. Remember, go to danpatrick.com for official rules. No purchase necessary. Void in Alaska, Hawaii, and where prohibited. Open to contiguous U.S. D.C. residents 18 or over. Ends 11/23/25.
The voice of Sacramento sports is back.
Hear Grant Napear every weekday beginning at 3 right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
It's time for Grant.
Yeah, let me get you to the weekend with a good one. Which direction should I go, Rhino?
Grant, there's a lot of directions, and we do have a listener submission. It is the Kings having an in-arena sponsored celebrity cam during the games. So that is your first submission. Of all places, Sacramento, right? Number 2.
Let me, before we move on to number 2, they have one or they want to have one?
They have one. So if there's celebrities in the building, it is sponsored by an entity, and they put the celebrities on camera. Number 2, I got to go to the 650 who sent a message in and said that we only talk negative about the Kings. There's other sports to talk to. Did you not hear the caller right after you, my man, talking tennis? We might be the only station not hammering you over the head with the Kings. So you can go there. And last but not least, Dan Patrick, now the NFL has sent a letter limiting or requesting that prop bets be limited. The NBA has all but lobbied for the federal government to get involved with what can be gambled on and what can't in their sport. Grant, all these things were fine when they took the money, and now they want to walk back and clean up what they feel like are the problems when they should have seen them beforehand.
A freaking man, and that is the topic of today's rant. You got to be an absolute moron to understand the domino effect of gambling And to think that that is not going to creep into your sport, you've got to be incredibly naive. David Stern talked about it all the time. He knew, but unfortunately, he has passed. And I'm glad David Stern's not around to see what's going on here. You got to be an absolute moron as a commissioner of a sports league or as anyone involved in pro sports to think that you had a ironclad shield, an ironclad impenetrable wall around your sport as it pertains to sports gambling and now legalized sports gambling. Prop bets can be manipulated easier than anything else. All right, if you were just listening to Dan Patrick's commentary, he is spot on. Are you going to tell me that the Adam Silvers of the world didn't realize that this could be something that would adversely affect the sport and hurt its bottom line? Bottom line meaning now you have fans that are questioning the integrity of the sport more than ever. And we're also seeing it on the college level as well. I mean, what happens if the fans just say enough is enough and I'm going to take my attention and put it elsewhere? Do I ever see that in the NFL? Could I ever see that? I really couldn't. NFL's just a different animal. But I could see it impacting other sports. I really could. It's like, duh. Really? Really? You're surprised now that we're having issues with certain players in the various sports leagues that have got their hand caught in a cookie jar and they've now ruined their careers? Here's the bottom line. Who else is doing this right now that hasn't been caught? What other bad things are going on behind the scenes? Who's in the illegal poker games that are being run by the mafia where inside information is being told? Where else is that going on? Are we going to think that everything's just 100% clean because of the recent arrest of 3 folks affiliated with the NBA and some NFL players and this and that? No. You know it and I know it. There will be more arrests forthcoming. There will be more suspensions forthcoming. It's about freaking time. Deal with the reality. The reality is that there are problems and you have to fix the problems. And the easiest thing to do is say, no more prop bets. Pretty simple. No more prop bets. And that's my rant for today. Is it really as easy as that, though, Rhino? Just saying prop bets are not going to be allowed?
Absolutely not. That's where many of these books are making their most money. They wouldn't have paid the NFL and the NBA the amount of money they are paying them if prop bets weren't going to be allowed.
Well, don't you think there's others right now that are shaking in their boots because they know they've been gambling and they're going to get caught?
Yes, I do think there are some, maybe not directly gambling, but as you said, people around them maybe gambling and using information that they saw as benign and benefiting from that information. You don't know how much this is going to stretch. I've said this all along. If you're going to have props, the only way to do props is to only have an over. You can't have an under because the under grant is what leaves that space for a player to impede and make that bet or go against the sport and make that bet in their favor.
All right. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what the conversation is a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, as it pertains to gambling and not only the gambling that is going on, but the messages that we receive from these multi-million, billion-dollar companies that promote gambling in the middle of a game.
Yes.
In the middle of a game. And the announcers are now promoting it in the middle of games.
Right now, the NBA is promoting across their platforms with, I believe, it is one of the major companies, a King of the Court Tuesday. Who's going to have the most points, assists, points, assists, and rebounds?
And who's promoting that?
The NBA and the book. And so any of the NBA shows that are on Sirius, they have an entire segment talking about who's going to be the king of the court, and they make a pick from that night's games.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're saying we don't want props, but all we're doing, Grant, how often is it, other than like on Fox or CBS, or I think ESPN will put the number up and the panel decides whether they're going to, take the points or whatever they're going to do. Like outside of that, everything else we see is props, props, props. I'm going to take Drake May for over 250 yards and over 1.5 touchdowns, right? It's all their little 3-way, 4-way prop bet parlays that are getting advertised.
It'll be very interesting to follow this story in the world of professional sports. Kings and Timberwolves going to be tipping off in a little bit. And again, good luck in dealing with the lime green court.
I was going to say booger.
Yeah, I don't want to use that term because I got to do the rest of the show and I don't want to be completely grossed out.
Did your kids
I'm going to say lime green.
Okay. Did your kids ever watch, or your boys ever watch a show called Guts on Nickelodeon?
Called what?
Guts.
If they did, I don't remember it.
Okay. Nickelodeon is infamous for this slime that they will drop on people. And that used to be a part of some of those shows. And it is the exact same color of the Nickelodeon slime. Those out there will relate if you've seen it. And a lot of parents have.
Okay. See, I get educated every day from you. I love that.
It's a little bit lighter than a lime, but I see where you went lime for sure.
Yeah, it is a little bit lighter than a lime. You're right. How about a lime that's been out in the sun too long?
Yes. There you go.
So other than booger, how else could we describe the color of this court? What would you equate it to?
Neon, slime green.
You don't think it's more lime? You don't like the lime analogy?
I don't. It's not dark. Well, yeah, no, I don't. It's too dark for a lime.
Right. Okay.
In my opinion. Hey, everybody's going to be watching the game. If you are watching the game, let us know.
All right. We are going to be doing our NFL picks. Have you even looked at the picks yet, or are you going to just do it during the break before we make our picks in the final segment?
I adopted your formula.
Yeah. And is that working out for you?
It's been better. Remember my weeks of 1 and 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't been the last few weeks.
Isn't it interesting that I saw the line for last night on the app that we use for our YouTube show? That was 13.5. That the Jets were getting 13.5. And what was the final score? 13-point win.
Yeah.
For New England.
That's why the line makers are so good, Grant.
It's unbelievable. Amazing, right? And the Jets, I don't know if you watched the end of the game, but this was very puzzling to me. The Jets were down, and they needed 2 scores. And they had a 4th and 3 at like the 15-yard line. And instead of kicking a field goal, which you would have had to have anyway, they went for it and didn't make it. I found that to be very puzzling.
Did you say that 43?
Huh?
43?
What do you mean 43?
The yard line. Where were they at?
No, they were on the they were like inside the 20.
Okay.
Right. And they needed 2 scores. And I don't know. I know you probably at that point you're thinking we got to get 2 touchdowns, we got to do this, we got to do that. I didn't like the play call, I guess is what I was saying. It didn't make sense to me. But do you agree with me what I said about Justin Fields?
Yes, I do.
If you're if you were a general manager of a team, you wouldn't say, "Yeah, I think I can have Justin Fields as my guy, and I can hang my hat on him." No, you wouldn't say that, right?
No, he's too stiff, Grant.
Yeah. And his best attribute is running.
Yeah,
he put him at running back then, because what do we talk about when Justin Fields plays well? We normally talk about what he's doing with his legs.
Yeah,
because he's an incredible athlete, an amazing athlete.
Spot on. Look at what the Giants did. They completely shifted the offense for Jackson Dart with the run-pass option. You got to do the same if you're the Jets. Not enough teams do that with running quarterbacks, but then the flip side is Jackson's in his 2nd concussion protocol right now.
Yes. Yeah. All right, again, if you want to call the show, 916-779-0929. That's 916 779-0929. The Kings and the Timberwolves will keep you up to date on that game. The start of a 5-game road trip for a Kings team. They got to be so happy they're not at home anymore. I mean, just to get out of that environment, just get away, right? Go away. Leave town for 10 days. It's perfect.
Yeah,
Great time to leave town.
Spot on. It was a perfect time for them to leave town. I mean, ideally, you would be sad to see your team go because they just won 5 games in a row, but no. This is the time to get out.
No, absolutely. Again, if you're just joining us, the Kings are not starting Dennis Schroeder tonight. They are starting Russell Westbrook, and Dennis Schroeder is coming off the bench. The other players are DeRozan with Levine, Achua, and Sabonis. All right, those are the players that are starting the game for Doug Christie and the Kings. Keep your eye on Rudy Gobert, which we will talk about on the postgame show. Again, join us after the game over on YouTube and X if you don't like that. Jerry Reynolds, Ryan in Sacktown. We very much look forward to have you join us, the first of a 5-game road trip, Sacramento, and, of course, the Minnesota Timberwolves. What are you doing for the weekend? You got football planned? What are you doing? NBA basketball, football? What direction are you going in terms of your sports viewing this weekend? Again, are you going NBA or are you going with another sport? How about hockey? A little bit of hockey? Yeah, let's watch some hockey. Give me some hockey. I'm always happy when I am watching the National Hockey League. So, again, Kings and Timberwolves, we'll break it down for you. We'll talk about it. We'll have our football picks coming up in a little bit and your interaction via the text line, or you can call the show at 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929 on the Grant Napear Show as we take you right up until 6. And by the way, if you missed the first hour of the show and you want to listen to it, easy to do. We replay the first hour of the show at 6 o'clock. And then, of course, we have it on the podcast. So you can check out the show wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. From the 530, oh my God, that court, OMG, that court is puke green, hard to watch. It is pretty brutal. No doubt about it. It is brutal. Absolutely brutal. No doubt. Brutal. Yeah. The Kings Court wasn't that bad, Rhino, when they had the first game at home. I didn't mind the Kings Court. I was like, okay, I can deal with that.
Yeah, I don't mind the Kings Court either. Available on Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. Cheap plug there. But no, the Kings NBA Cup did the court look good. It's easy on the eyes. Light gray.
Yeah, and what the Houston court's hard on your eyes. Have you seen the Houston Rockets red court?
Yeah, bright red.
That's hard, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know what the NBA is thinking. Like, just do a classic court color, put the logo in the middle, and put your team's name over it, like they've done. You don't need to change the color of the court.
Yeah, absolutely. Kings and Timberwolves are underway again. We'll keep you up to date on that game. Don't forget our picks and your chance to win a gift card from Bennett's Restaurants. Yes, indeed. A $100 gift card from Bennett's. If you are the winner, we will put the picks up on X, Rhino's X account and mine, and the radio station at Fox Sports, KSAC, and you'll have an opportunity to partake and win a gift card from Bennett's for $100. And get down there and check out their brunch tomorrow and Sunday. It is outstanding. So we'll be doing that coming up in a little bit. We'll continue to talk about the NBA. We'll get you caught up on some of the other scores going around in the NBA. These are all cup games tonight, Ryan, which, makes me so excited. You know how much I look forward to all of this.
Oh, yeah. Makes you want to grab
it's my thing.
Yeah, makes you want to grab a pack of Skittles.
Yeah, it's a very good point. By the way, the Knicks are leading the Heat now 68-62 at MSG. The Nets are now only 4 better than the Magic at the break in Orlando. The Sixers and the Pistons, 7-4 Philly, 10-2 Detroit. It's Philly with the early lead, 38-31. That game is with 2 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Portland and the Rockets are just underway. Hornets, Bucks just underway as well. And the Pelicans and the Lakers have just started their game. Clips, Mavs, Warriors, Spurs coming up in just a little bit. tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to get ready for my football picks in a little bit. I'm not going to peek at it now, but I'm going to think about it. We're going to go to the break. We're going to come back. More of your text messages, more of your phone calls. And the NFL weekend is upon us. College football tomorrow, some big games. Oklahoma, Alabama is going to be a very interesting game. You've got Texas, Georgia, interesting game. So we've got a lot to talk about right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic as we take another look at the roadways. Heavy rush hour delays throughout the entire Sacramento area, especially Cap City Freeway in between top of the town and US 50. About a 30-minute additional ride through there. Same thing with I-5 northbound and southbound in between Del Paso Road and Sutterville Road. Definitely give yourself that extra time to work your way through all these rush hour delays. And US 50 is stacked up as well. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Tired of the same old routine? Need a place where the beer flows and the good times roll? Then head to Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Family owned and operated, so you know you'll feel right at home. Catch all your favorite games on 18 big screens while enjoying amazing food. And with 28 beers on tap, you're sure to find something you love. And don't miss everyday happy hour from 3 to 7 and again from 10 till close. Looking for more than just the game? Trivia Tuesday starts at 7 p.m. And there's Mario Kart and bingo nights for even more fun, too. There's always a blast happening at Fieldhouse. Whether you're looking for a place to watch the game, grab a bite with the family, or just unwind with friends, Fieldhouse is the place to be. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Bring it to the house.
At Downtown Ford Sacramento, we're proud of our long heritage. We've consistently provided Ford cars and trucks to families and businesses in this region for over 100 years. If we think about it, practically every kid who grew up in this town at one time or another rode around in a Ford that we sold to their family. We've served multiple generations of local farmers and ranchers who got their rugged Ford trucks from us. We've also provided many of the emergency vehicles that you see out doing the people's work every day on the streets. All of us at Downtown Ford, from our top-notch service department who keep your Ford running like new, to our dedicated finance team and the guys and gals in our showroom, we thank you for generations of love and loyalty to us. And for that love, we say right back at you. We're doing Fords just like we always have. Come see us any day of the week or visit us online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
Well, if you were wondering if we would see a different Sacramento Kings team in the first couple of minutes on the road in Minnesota, the answer is no. They're already down double digits. It is 18-7 in favor of the Timberwolves. They are getting open threes. They are beating the Kings defensively, and they are making their open threes, and they're off to a very good start. Again, the score is 18-7. It is not what Doug Christie was hoping for in the first 4 minutes and 38 seconds of this game.
No, they're 7 of 8 from the field already, Napes.
Yeah.
7 of 8.
Yep. And I don't want to be like piling it on, but they've gotten every call. The refs have missed 2 foul calls on the Kings, and they missed a travel call on Russell Westbrook when he went to the line. He missed both. So maybe you could say that's the basketball gods. So on top of that, they've also got the benefit of the whistle already, and they're still down 18-7.
Yeah, and 6 of the 7 buckets have been assisted. So that means the ball's moving around. They're getting really good looks, as you said.
Yeah. But you know what's going to be interesting to me, Rhino, as we follow this game and talk about it, plus the NFL, how long Doug will wait till he goes to the bench.
I would think you're going to see a substitution coming in right now.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And I would put Keon Ellis on the floor right now, and I would put Neek Clifford on the floor right now.
Oh,
I'm
really?
sorry. Yep.
You'd go Neek.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I don't like the way DeMar DeRozan's playing on either side of the ball right now.
Okay.
He's not doing anything.
Yeah.
He just doesn't. It's not there. So, I would go to the bench right now before this game gets out of control. And if you don't think a game can get out of control in the first quarter, well, we know that's not the case. How many games have the Kings lost this year in the first quarter, Ryan, where on the post-game show we're talking about, they didn't play that bad in the second quarter. They didn't really play that bad in the third or the fourth. But, boy, when you look at the start in the first quarter, and Jerry always talks about that, it's hard to be on the road and come back from double-digit deficits early in a game.
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, you're not in your own building. They've got to pull it together. If I'm Doug, nothing is off limits. That's the way I would be coaching it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I don't think anything's off limits. And Doug's got to coach for his survival right now. I hate to say it, but, he's got to just coach this team based on what he thinks is the best for the team and go from there, and see what happens. So right now, again, the Kings just need to settle down, get some easy shots, keep working and stay with it. That's all you can do.
Yeah, no
substitutions after the first time out.
Yeah. The other thing that I've noticed here in the early minutes of this one is something that has been a theme of at least this last homestand and probably before. The Kings trying to pass in a phone booth. They get finally to the lane, and instead of taking a shot, they're passing up a shot for a turnover.
Yeah, and the spacing is not very good offensively.
No, it is not. It's a great point.
All right, again, Portland is on the road. They are in Houston tonight, and they're off to a good start. They lead 19-12 with 6 minutes left. And again, Minnesota is on top of the Kings 20-9 in the first quarter. We'll keep you up to date on that game. All right, so give me a take on your Seahawks. You think they're going to beat the Rams on Sunday, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I think it's going to be loud. I think it's going to be physical. I think it's going to be close. And I think this is going to be that signature win. This is where the division shifts, in my opinion. Now, having the Niners as the last game on the schedule, everything's out the window, regardless of who's healthy and who's not. That is always just a different game. But yeah, I do think this is going to be a game for the Hawks, and the 12s are taking over SoFi.
Low scoring?
Yeah, I would. I don't know what the over-under is, but I would say 21 wins the game, maybe 24.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I think it's a low scoring. I mean, I'm looking at these defenses, and how could I not think that? I mean, they both have tremendous defenses. So, yeah, I do. And the way Seattle plays, they're not a team, and maybe if you're playing Arizona, but I don't look at them as a team that's going to be a prolific scoring team. They're going to go with what works for them, short passes, running game, defense. It tends to be lower scoring.
Yeah, and it's cliche, but I really think special teams is going to be important in this one. The Rams sometimes will have sporadic special teams. Same thing can be said for the Seahawks. So if you're able to flip the field, if it's not going well offensively, you've got to be able to do those things because a little play there will make the difference, Grant.
All right, so a sold out SoFi. What do you think? 70% Seattle fans?
85-15.
Oh, you think it'll be 85% Seattle fans?
Yep.
Wow.
You think
85-15?
You think Niner fan travels?
Yes.
Just wait.
Wow.
If I was Sean McVay, I would have been pumping in crowd noise all this week, even though I'm home.
By the way, first player off the bench for Sacramento is Dennis Schroeder.
Interesting.
And Malik Monk. So Schroeder and Monk come into the game at the same time.
Okay. That's what we predicted. So glad Monk was with him.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think you got to get Eubanks in really quick somehow. I would go Eubanks and Neek in the next 2 minutes.
Don't forget, our NFL picks are going to be coming up next segment. Hey, with the NBA season tipping off, so does DraftKings' newest fantasy game. DraftKings Pick 6 is the easiest way to play for big wins, with every possession giving you a shot at real money. Here's how to play. Just pick more or less on 2 or more stats and unlock the upside every game brings. The better your picks, the bigger your payout. Pick 6 is available in your state. Plus, new DraftKings customers can get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. Don't just watch basketball, cash in. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now. Use code KSAC. That's code KSAC. Play just $5. Get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call. Ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. 4 minutes left, first quarter, and the Kings are down 26-16. The Rockets have gone on a run, and they've tied up Portland at 24. These are all NBA Cup games as the Kings beginning a 5-game road trip tonight in the Twin Cities against Minnesota. And don't forget, coming up in the next segment, in about 10 minutes from now or a little bit less, we will have our NFL picks. So we're looking forward to that. See if I can do better than last week's 1-up and 3 down. Again, for the Kings, down double digits in the first quarter. And right now, the story in the first quarter really has been Minnesota's three-point shooting. They are shooting the ball very, very well.
4 or 5 from beyond the arc, 10 of 13 overall from the field.
Yep. Keon Ellis is into the game now, so he's the third player coming in off the bench for Sacramento. When he comes into the game and he hits a 3, and that's what Keon can do for you. We know what you're going to get defensively, but he also is a very high percentage three-point shooter. So good to see the bench doing their thing again for Sacramento.
Nick Clifford also into the game now as well.
Yep. So going deep to the bench here in the first quarter. All right, we'll keep our eye on that. We've got our NFL picks and college football tomorrow. I am really looking forward to some of the games tomorrow. I'm looking forward to Texas and seeing if they can win a big road game at Georgia. And then, of course, you have a game in which Alabama, who lost the first game of the year, right? We were all talking about Kellen DeBoer. Boy, how long is he going to last? Is he going to make it past Wisconsin? And they haven't lost since that opening week loss to Florida State. And they are now ranked 4th. They are 4th in the country, and they are hosting Oklahoma. So a couple of really big games tomorrow in college football. And then, of course, on Sunday, Niners and the Cardinals. And we talk a lot about the Rams and the Seahawks, a big game. I like Tampa is going to be a big game with Buffalo. And then Kansas City at Denver. The Denver Broncos, number 1 in the division. Are they going to be able to beat Kansas City? This is a gigantic game coming up for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's almost a game where you look at and you say they have to win it. Not just to like have a chance to win the division, where you look at it and go, they might have to win this game just to make the playoffs. So this is going to be a real big test for Denver, taking on an Andy Reid team where just playing well is not going to be good enough. It is not going to be good enough. You are going to have to figure out a way to win the game if you're the Chiefs. And I think we could just all acknowledge they're not as good as they've been in the past, but they're still good, and they know how to win, and they're probably not going to beat themselves. So that is going to be a really big game coming up with Kansas City at Denver. Then you have some other interesting games with Detroit and Philadelphia, and I don't have a read on the Lions. I mean, they can be really good, and yet they can be really bad. So all scores, or all teams, rather, that we will definitely be keeping our eye on as we get you ready for the big football weekend. But tomorrow I'll be watching Alabama and Oklahoma. I'll be watching Texas and Georgia. Those are the 2 games I'll be focused on. And if I had to, look at, if I could only watch one game this weekend in the NFL, the game I would watch would be Seattle and the Rams. I just think that both these teams can be playing in February. I think they're both Super Bowl caliber because they're very well balanced. They both play really good defense, and they both have quarterbacks that are really good, and Stafford's already won a Super Bowl. So I could see both these teams, both the Seahawks and the Rams, representing the NFC coming in February. So if I could only watch one game, that's the game I'm watching. Give me the Seahawks. Give me the Rams. We'll see. Rhino's got it 85-15 with the Seahawks fans who do travel well. Are they going to take over SoFi? I think they will. The question is, will it be really as high as 85%? Could be very interesting with the Rams at home having him once again go to the silent count. So we've got the football story. We've got the Kings. They have climbed back to within 4 after being down 11. And once again, it is the bench. Keon Ellis comes in off the bench and makes a couple of threes. Dennis Schroeder just with a driving layup, who's not starting tonight. And again, it looks like the bench is better than the starters that Doug Christie has been putting out onto the floor. Again, there's a timeout with 2 minutes and 18 seconds remaining, and it is 28-24 in favor of the Minnesota Timberwolves, who really have been making threes. And the Kings have to hope that that will slow down a little bit and will enable them to not only, get back into the game, which they are, but ultimately win the game, where they have won 5 straight. They have won 5 straight games in Minnesota against the Timberwolves. The one thing I would say about Sacramento in this first quarter, from the minutes that I've been able to watch, Ryan, 100% effort. It's just Minnesota's making shots. I don't see anybody out there slacking. I don't see anybody out there loafing. I mean, they're playing all out. And so we didn't see that in the last game against Atlanta.
Yeah, no doubt. And I would add that last Dennis Schroeder basket, he could have taken a 3. He pumped fake and took it to the hoop. And that was last game, the game before, a 3-point shot from Dennis. So good adjustment there.
Yeah, and I don't know why anybody would honor Dennis's 3-point shot. If I'm playing defense, I'm going to let him stand out there
all day
and let him show me that he can make that shot.
Yes, I'm with you.
All right, again, we'll keep our eye on that. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we are going to have our NFL picks for Sunday and maybe Monday. All right? Available for you next here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports Traffic as we take one final look at the roadways for this Friday evening. Working a couple of problems. Disabled vehicle blocking the shoulder of I-5 southbound right at the I-80 interchange. Give yourself a couple of extra minutes to work your way through there. The shoulder is blocked waiting on a tow truck. Cap City Freeway in between I-80 and US 50 still very sluggish with heavy rush hour delays, adding about 25 to 30 minutes worth of drive time through there, along with US 50 in the same boat. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
For nearly all of us, our home is our biggest investment. And just as important as what it looks like on the outside is what is happening on the inside. How long has it been since you had your home's electrical integrity checked? Whether your home is 10 or more years old or even a newer build, the safe rule of thumb is to get the electrical inspected at least every 5 years. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. We're the area's recognized experts. Panel replacements, whole house fans, generators, solar, and more. But home inspections are what we do most often. Whether you have a difficult electrical situation or it's just time to ensure your home and family are safe, call locally owned Gabrud's for our thorough 12-point expert inspection. Gabrud's, serving our Northern California neighbors for more than 30 years. Gabrud's, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrud's, G-U-B-R-U-D-S, Gabrud's.com.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Decisions determine results. So which path do I want to take? Help people in need or stand on the sidelines watching? Worry about how to pay for school or have my education paid for? Push myself and learn new skills or stay the same? My decision is to serve part-time with the Army National Guard, and my results will be life-changing. What will you decide? Go to NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service.
Sponsored by the California Army National Guard. Aired by the California Broadcasters.
Yeah, it's that time of the week. Our NFL picks. We'll put them up on X, and then you can respond. Remember, you have to use the DraftKings NFL odds. Rhino was 2-2 last week. I was 1-3. Does that mean you still are in the leader's chair and that you go first?
I am.
Or do you want me to go first? It's your choice. You win the coin flip.
You know what? I'm going to let you go first. I'm going to be a gentleman. Go for it.
The Niners are coming off a really bad loss. Purdy is back, and this is a game they must win. Like, it's a must-win game, in my opinion. And they're -3 on the road. I think they win this game outright. I like them to win by a lot more than 3. I'm taking the 49ers at Arizona.
All right, we got Napes down outright, -3. I'm heading to SoFi. I'm going to be one of the 85% in spirit Seahawks. Rams, as Grant said, I think one of the best games of the week. Very well could decide this division or put somebody in the driver's seat. I love how Seattle's playing. I don't know that the Rams have an answer for the dual balance, and Jackson Smith-Njigba on his way right now, on pace to break the receiving record. Give me a break. I'm going Hawks, especially because you're giving me points. Give me the Hawks +3.5. They win outright.
All right. Another game that I like. No Hendrickson for the Bengals, so that is going to really limit their pass rush on Aaron Rodgers, who did not play well last week in the loss against the Chargers. They're at home. I expect them to rebound against the Bengals team now that is very sporadic offensively and defensively. Without Hendrickson, I don't think they're going to be able to put enough pressure. I'm going to take Pittsburgh, and I'm going to give about 5.5 points over the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right. Cody, plug your ears. Earmuffs, my friend. I am heading to the Mile High City. Chiefs, Broncos. Broncos fans, this is the week you find out your team ain't as good as the record shows. The Chiefs, I think, are playing really good football right now. This is the time of year they kick into gear. Yeah, a little bit left to be desired on defense. But give me Patrick Mahomes and give me the Chiefs -3.5 in the Mile High City.
Yeah, I was going to take the Chiefs too, but I will now go in a different direction. All right, let me look at a bonus game here because I was not going to play that game. And I told you I'm not betting on, with this is for fun. I'm not taking Carolina or Atlanta ever again, so I have to cross that game off the board. So here's a game that I think is very interesting, and it's the Bears and the Vikings from Minnesota. And the Bears have been playing winning football. They've been finding a way to win, but they really haven't been that impressive. I'm going to take the 3 points at home with the Vikings. I like the Bears. I think they've grown up a lot, but I don't think they're completely there yet. I'm going to give me the 3 points. I'm going to take the home underdog, Minnesota, over the Chicago Bears.
I like that pick. It's a loud building, too. It's a tough environment to play in. All right, I am going to go to Sunday Night Football. The Eagles hosting the Lions. Yeah, the Lions put up a bunch of points, and Dan Campbell took over playing calling. I don't put that much into it. What I do put into is the Lions play really well on the road, especially in primetime games. This just feels like a game that's going to be tough. I know it doesn't always work, but I think Dan Campbell will take a gamble here and there. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I love what he's doing. Jared Goff sometimes has those games. I think it's going to be one of those games. Give me the Detroit Lions +2.5 against the Eagles.
All right. Let me write that down. He's going with the road team, those Motown Lions. All right. How about the Houston Texans and Tennessee Titans? The Texans are -5.5. Tennessee at home, they have been just absolutely awful, have they not? They have been terrible. Yeah. I don't know about Houston this year. And I look at Tennessee and I'm like, can they really be that bad? Like, are they truly that bad? And the answer is, yeah, they really are. And then I look at the Tampa Bay Buffalo game, and I want to get involved in that game because I think it is a really big game. I think the Buccaneers have a chance to not only win this game, but I like the fact that they're getting 5.5.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. And so I'm comfortable taking those points. Give me the 5.5 at Buffalo, and I'll take Tampa. Not necessarily to win the game, but I think they make it close.
All right. The lowly Cleveland Browns hosting the Baltimore Ravens. If this Ravens run is going to continue, it has to run through Cleveland. Look, Lamar Jackson looks like Lamar Jackson again. This team seems to be getting a second stride and has a shot to win the division. I'm going to just say straight up, give me the Ravens. I think they take it.
All right. So here are our picks in review. All right. Ryan has Seattle, Kansas City, Detroit, and Baltimore. I am taking San Francisco, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, and Tampa Bay. And then you can go on X. Ryan will, are you going to put the picks up on X?
Yes, we
All
will.
right.
I'll get those to, we will tweet them out from your account.
Okay. And then you can then go and you respond to us. And again, you must use the DraftKings NFL odds because we have to be uniform. We all have to be, using the same numbers.
And if you notice, we did not announce a winner to Bennett's. That's because, and if I missed it, shoot it to me right now and show me. We only got submissions from past winners, and you are within the time period that you cannot win again. So, Grant, what do? Do we roll it over to 200?
No. What we're going to do is we're going to save that, and we're going to have a special Thanksgiving holiday edition of the 3 games on Thanksgiving. And we're going to start off the holidays with a 3-game opportunity on Thanksgiving week. That's what we're going to do.
I love that. She'll have the answers on Friday.
Yes, but we won't be working on Friday, but we'll know the results. Are you going to come in on Friday of the day after Thanksgiving? Because I'm not.
Yeah, probably not.
No.
That's a hard one.
No. I mean, we love doing our work. We love our show, right?
Yes.
But no. We're
Yeah.
not. No.
There's
we have
just
our
a lot-
limits, right, Rhino?
Yeah, there's a lot going on that day. And like for us, Grant, we split Thanksgiving, so we're in 2 spots. So you're running around, and then the next day, usually there's a cookout where my wife's family makes tamales, which is an entire assembly line process. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to be getting that good quality family time.
Hey, I want to talk to you about DAS Mechanical, and we talk about HVAC retrofit and service specialist and how awesome they are. It's easy for me to see why they have so many 5-star reviews and numerous best of the best awards. That's DAS Mechanical, family owned and operated, and they serve Sacramento and Placer counties, whether it's homeowners, business for commercial maintenance, they do it all. And again, they are HVAC retrofit and service specialists. Go to dasmechanical.org. You can book everything online. That's D as in dog, A, S as in Sam, mechanical.org. And don't forget about their special that they have going on for the rest of this month. Only $69 for a winter maintenance checkup. That's right. Only $69. Go to dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org. And again, you can schedule everything online. It is really that simple. Don't forget, right after the Kings game, and it's a close game, only a 2-point game in the second quarter, we will be breaking it down on our YouTube channel. If you don't like that, Jerry Reynolds, Ryan at Sacktown, and yours truly. So after a rough start and where the Kings were down 11 early, the bench has rescued them once again, Rhino. The bench.
They're doing their job. They're clawing back into it. I like it.
And Schroeder's looked much better as a reserve than a starter.
Yeah. Not nearly as aggressive hunting his own shot, which I'm really happy about.
Keep that in mind. All right. The Kings, the first of 5, and we always talk about, the schedule, right? And the schedule is daunting because after this game, you go to San Antonio, then you go to Oklahoma City, and after Oklahoma City, the next night you play Memphis, and then you end up the road trip in Denver against the Denver Nuggets. So there, other than Memphis, who really is struggling right now, all of these games figure to be really, really difficult. You're playing teams that are better than you, but I'll tell you, again, regardless of the score, I really like the way the Kings are competing here in this first half. I mean, there's no issue to me with how they're competing.
Yep, compete level is there. They've been going to loose balls. They've just overextended here and there on defense, and guys have hit shots. That's what NBA players do.
And they're getting Sabonis in the game, who's already got 11 points in the first half, and that's nice to see.
And Grant, I want to give and point out to everybody that Doug has been doing that for the last 3 games that Sabonis has played.
Yep.
That has been an adjustment for everybody that says Doug's not making a lot of them. That has been a clear adjustment. So credit to Doug Christie on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, first half, close game, the Kings and the Timberwolves, 8 minutes and 42 seconds left to go in the first half. And then we'll break it down for you on the post-game show. We'll do the same thing for all the games on this road trip. So if you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, do so. And it is very easy to know exactly when we are going to be doing our live shows. So tonight it's going to be roughly 7:15 to 7:30, just to give you an idea as soon as the game is over. So again, we've got that going on. We got college football tomorrow, the NFL. And we didn't get a lot of feedback on the MVP awards announced yesterday. And I understand because no one really cares about baseball right now. But Shohei Ohtani and, of course, Aaron Judge, the MVPs of their respective leagues. Ohtani 4 in 5. And for Judge, it is his 3rd MVP. Boy, those two are really good. A lot of people think Cal Raleigh of the Mariners should have gotten it. But I think the 247 batting average is really what the issue was. But both really good. That's for darn sure.
Okay, let me ask you. Does your eyeball tell you that Cal Raleigh should have gotten it?
No, because you're going by the postseason, and I don't go by the postseason. I go by the regular season. And
he hit 60
Aaron
home
Judge
runs.
was number 1 in almost every single category in baseball.
Grant, he hit 60 home runs as a catcher.
I understand, but there's more to baseball than just hitting a home run. There's a lot more to the game than just hitting a baseball. You have to get on base. Aaron Judge was number 1. Okay, he was number 1 in batting average. He hit over 50 home runs. It's not like he hit 10 home runs.
Plays center
there's
field.
more to baseball than just hitting a home run.
Grant, he plays center field.
I understand where he plays, but there's more to baseball than hitting home runs.
There
and
is.
I'm not discounting
but you're giving
the tools
me
of
stats.
ignorance.
I'm
not discounting the importance of playing catcher. I get that. I understand it's a physical disadvantage. I understand all of that.
So you named off all the stats, though, but those things jump off the page to your eyeball when you watch Aaron Judge over a season.
Aaron Judge is a great, great player. Cal Raleigh had a great season.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to break it down, forget about the playoffs. I can't just say that one player had a better season than the other. They both had great years, but only one can win the award.
There never seems to be voter fatigue in baseball.
What do you mean by that?
Like in the NBA, a lot of people feel like if Jokic has won 2 MVPs in a row, then there's voter fatigue, right? And SGA gets one, and there's a big Jokic contingent that feels like he should have been the MVP even last year.
All right, let me throw this out at you. So there were 31st place votes. Aaron Judge won 17 to 13 for Raleigh.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not just me. There are 17 out of 30 that also. And by the way, if Cal Raleigh had won the MVP, I would have been praising his attributes and great job. If he had won the MVP, I wouldn't have had a problem with it, Rhino. I would have had no problem at all.
And please do not take this as me having a problem with Aaron Judge. He deserves the MVP. I get that. I just felt that year was really special for Cal Raleigh. You take that away from the Mariners, they're not making the ALCS.
No, of course not.
And the same can be said probably about Aaron Judge. Absolutely
The same
can be said.
absolutely can be said about Judge. No question. No question about that. All right, again, NBA, the scores around the association in the NBA Cup games tonight. The Pistons now lead the 76ers at halftime. The score there is 63 to 54. The Knicks and the Heat, a good game going on at MSG with 6.5 left in the third. It's New York 90, Miami 88, both teams with 7 wins. The Magic have come from double digits down, and they lead the Nets. No Paolo Banchero, as Rhino pointed out. The score there is 71 to 67. Pistons lead the 76ers at the break. The score there is 63-54. Blazers one better than the Rockets as they approach the halfway point of the second quarter. Hornets are in Milwaukee. They lead 55-50. The Lakers are on the road in New Orleans. They're on top 42-35. The Clippers with an 8-point lead early in Dallas. The Warriors and the Spurs a little bit later. And the Kings and the Timberwolves are all knotted up at 45 with 6:40 left. The Kings were down 11 early, and they now have tied the game at 45.
See, now, if they can finish this half strong, this is where those third quarters are so important for the Kings, because the arena is going to be empty below. That is where you can change the energy. And I just wonder, Grant, with the way the starters came out, and I know that Minnesota was hitting shots, if Doug's going to tweak the second half starting lineup, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I don't think he will. I think he'll go with the same formula, but the Kings are giving Minnesota all they can handle right now. And they're outscoring Minnesota here in the second quarter, 15-10. So there's no missed assignments in this game. There's no sleepwalking. They're playing very well. They're playing very well. And boy, you want to talk about a team not only needing to play well, boy, does this team ever need a win?
Yes.
Like, can you imagine if they could win this game, what that would do for just get the bitter taste out of your mouth for a while?
It wouldn't just be win this game. They need to come out and play well the next game, too.
Well, they need to start playing well on a more consistent basis, period. But yes.
Because then that will take it was just, they were fired up because of what Doug said, and then they just went back to not caring. I don't want to hear that rhetoric from the fan base.
So what do you expect from De'Aaron Fox on Sunday?
Kind of what we've seen from De'Aaron. I actually hope the Kings can bait him into being De'Aaron who's shooting a lot of threes. That's what I hope, but probably a fairly aggressive. I mean, he got owned in the game when he returned to Golden One Center.
Yeah, yes, he did.
Granted, his finger wasn't right, but it was late season. A lot of guys are playing with stuff you don't know about.
Victor Wembanyama, will be fun to watch him play on Sunday. He is just, he's unbelievable. And he can just take a team and put him on his back. So we'll see how the Kings are going to handle him with Castle and the rest of those players. They're good. They're not unbeatable. They just lost to the Warriors. They're 8-3, but they're only 5-1 at home. That was their first home loss. And again, they have the rematch after a day off tonight with the Warriors and the Spurs from San Antonio.
Don't forget about Harrison Barnes either. And who knows, Grant, maybe the Kings get some of that Kings luck and it's a Wemby rest day. I don't know.
I don't think so. They're not going to rest him at home. No way. No way you're going to rest Victor Wembanyama at home. No way.
Isn't that when the commissioner wants you to rest
I don't
players?
care what the commissioner wants. They're not going to rest him at home.
Okay.
Not happening.
De'Aaron wouldn't let it happen, I'm sure.
Not happening. No. And here's the other deal. They're on the same schedule as Sacramento. They have a day off tomorrow. There's no reason to rest them.
There you go.
That'd be a really bad look
I'm just
for
saying,
the Timberwolves and the NBA.
The Kings have some weird luck when it comes to guys sitting out. It's been around the last 3 years.
Yeah. All right. So the road trip sets up, as we said, after tonight, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, the next night, Memphis, and then Denver. Denver does play the night before, so the Kings are at least getting Denver on the second night of a back-to-back there in Houston. Tough opponent, but not a brutal trip because you gain an hour flying from Houston to Denver. So it's not the worst thing in the world. Hey, we are already at the finish line, and we are at the end of the week. Another phenomenal week. Can the Kings keep up the defense where they have forced 10 first-half turnovers so far? We'll talk about it after the game over on YouTube. If you don't like that, Rhino, Jerry Reynolds, myself, we can't wait. That's coming on tonight right after the game. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe. Appreciate your support. And until next time, Grant Napear is saying thanks for listening to Fox Sports Sacramento. Bye-bye.
At Downtown Ford Sacramento, We're proud of our long heritage. We've consistently provided Ford cars and trucks to families and businesses in this region for over 100 years. If we think about it, practically every kid who grew up in this town at one time or another rode around in a Ford that we sold to their family. We've served multiple generations of local farmers and ranchers who got their rugged Ford trucks from us. We've also provided many of the emergency vehicles that you see out doing the people's work every day on the streets. All of us at Downtown Ford, from our top-notch service department who keep your Ford running like new, to our dedicated finance team and the guys and gals in our showroom, we thank you for generations of love and loyalty to us. And for that love, we say right back at you. We're doing Fords just like we always have. Come see us any day of the week or visit us online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
The holidays can be a time of increased stress for those struggling with opioid or stimulant use disorder. Complex family dynamics, financial strain, and cultural expectations can weigh heavily and become a tipping point for those battling the physical and mental effects of addiction. But the holidays can also be a time for pause, reflection, opportunity, and new beginnings. They're a chance to take stock of what we have and are thankful for, to remember what's most important to us, and to consider what we can change. The holidays are a time of hope. So this holiday season, choose treatment and recovery. Embrace the support and company of family and friends, and create